Now to DarkZero versus M80. Yes, we are getting to this next series, folks, because will DarkZero steal first from M80? I feel like that's the big question here. Will they take down the kings of Group D? Jesse, you're smiling at me. He's just grinning at me. Why?
Secret fanboy, man.
I'm the fanboy on this desk, am I?
Yeah, the secret fanboy.
Okay.
We'll see about that.
And Jacob, you were casting the last time these two teams saw each other, right?
Yeah, back when M80 were repping the set, the last time they played was NAL Stage 3, and this is at a point where both DZ and the team that they were before didn't have to worry about SI qualification in that matchup. So what did they do? A lot of memery. They played Chalet. DarkZero very much looked like they were still trying to at least play it semi-regularly, and the M80 squad were doing the exact opposite of that. The guys showed up to play in onesies. That kind of shows you how serious they were actually trying to take it. And it was a lot of meme play. It was a lot of really weird rushes, even for Chalet. Even like you have strats that are timed for that. That wasn't like they weren't taking this game very seriously. And it was also Eclipse's last professional match. And since then, they've had the Gavini call back in. They're trying to work around a new roster change, and I don't really know how impressive their play has been since, and I think M80's play has been considerably more impressive, so it's not going to be a joke game. This is one that they're absolutely both taking at a much heightened level of seriousness.
Okay, so Jacob, real talk. I mean, they got the war paint on. They've been looking real serious, but do they have what it takes to bring down M80? I mean, it was a little bit rocky for them at times.
I'm going to make the point that the play that we've seen from DarkZero has not been that impressive, and I'm not the only one saying that. Troy is saying that. If you watch his Instagram stories, if you look at what he says about the games on Twitter, they both say the same thing. They're fighting a lot harder than they typically have to fight. So if you're looking for a general impression, I think DarkZero are on the right track, but this is the kind of thing that will need a lot more time to marinate before it does anything internationally.
Okay, and who am I?
Jesse.
Right. We're playing charades here.
I get bullied so hard on this
we
desk.
love you, Jesse.
Type like this.
Yeah, you really do hammer
How am I
the keyboard.
supposed to type?
I mean, like softly.
With my toes?
Yeah.
No, not with your toes.
That'd actually be entertaining. Can we film
We're
that?
teasing, but he is always on his spreadsheets, and you were going real hard. I was like, what is going on here? There was just so much data, I didn't even know where to begin.
Jackie, I spent all of last night researching every single game that DarkZero has won 2-0 over the last 2 years.
I'm so sorry.
And I've come up with one. A singular match that DarkZero have won 2-0 through the last 2 years. It was against Furia at last year's Six Invitational. And this is important because 2-0 is what they need today to secure that first place in the groups and move on to get the bye through the first round in playoffs. You can see their complete record of best of threes. They've gotten a single 2-0 win, plenty of 2-1 wins, a couple of losses, decent range overall. They are positive when it comes to BO3s. But keep in mind, 2-0 is what's important here. And this includes a lot of big tournaments. This includes 2 Six Invitationals. This includes 3 majors, one of which DarkZero won. And then at that major, they didn't find a single 2-0 victory. So for DZ, where the stakes are really high and they need to come out and dominate the best of 3, I'm a little bit worried about their ability to do so.
Yeah, it would be a super hard-fought victory if they can get there, because their entire trend for all of 2022 was hard-fought victories if they ever played in best of 3s, which again only happened at SI last year and the Charlotte Major, which they won. And they still very much can finish in first place, because if they were to win this game against M80, it would tie them on points 2-0. Again, a 2-0 win for DarkZero ties them on points, gives them the head-to-head victory, and puts them in first place in the group, and they would love that after the group stage they've had so far.
Okay, let's pivot over to M80 now. Jesse Big Brain, I'm going to put you in the hot seat here. Sure. I want to talk about Gomez. I actually feel like this is a standout player that we haven't been focusing on too much.
I mean, there's been a lot of standout players at M80.
It's a talented
Tough.
squad. Yeah,
right? It's been tough to get them all in, but Gomez, I think, definitely deserves a shout, Jackie, because he has been killing it on the entry game. 18-6, that's a 3.0 clean KD ratio when it comes to getting the opening picks. He's been fantastic there for M80, but the one problem with that is they really haven't been on it when it comes to conversion. Their win rate on attack and on defense are both very, very positive. However, with the opening pick, they've been able to convert less than 50% on both halves. So I'm looking to see the team get behind him a little bit more. Gomez is doing his part, the heavy lifting at the start of the round to be able to give them that advantage. I'm hoping we see M80 maybe hold that down a little bit more and stop throwing so many leads.
Jacob, I see your eyebrow lifting there. So I was like, are you agreeing or not?
No, I'm agreeing, but I think it's interesting the way that M80 have shifted their roles around recently, because they would usually have two guys playing Finca, Gomez and Spirits, and their vertical play usually always is something that Yaga holds down. These days, Yaga's most played operator is Thatcher. Their vertical has gone completely over to Spirits. He plays predominantly Buck, but Spirits is the bottom ranked player on the team. He's below a 1.0, and it's interesting how the guy who's usually frag dependent is not playing a super frag dependent op, and he's just sticking to his vertical roles. I think it's working because M80 are doing phenomenally in several different statistical categories, but it's not the usual composition that we'll see from people who we understand their skill sets are usually just going and killing people.
Yeah, you talk about some other star players from this team as well. I think Kino and Diaz have both been holding it down on the support, as they always have been, right? These are two of the best supports inside of North America, I think for different reasons. The one thing they have in common is their clutches. 4 clutches for each player. That puts both of them in the top 5 for the tournament, and it makes M80 the most clutch team overall with 12 throughout the group stage. An incredible feat for them to be able to accomplish. And again, as a support players, it's really important for them to be able to hold it down in the late round. Of course, Diaz is known for his survival rating, always being the last one alive, but Kino as well, known for some smoke swings, going for some aggressive stuff on the support operators. And if they can keep that up, I think, yeah, M80 are looking pretty good right now, Jacob.
Jesse just hyping the whole squad, pretty much. Both of you.
Well,
He's doing what I've been doing all week, because I said M80 were going to win the group, and they're 1 game away from doing it.
You have really been on the hype train. Like,
they've been worthy of the hype train. Like, I don't know if it's something we can show, but there are so many different stats categories.
Yeah, we were just going to talk about the leaderboards.
Yeah, if we've got the leaderboard, look at this thing. This is them coming into today. In all of these different categories, they are within the top quarter of teams here. That might not seem like a lot. Maybe it would have been nicer if it was top 3, but look at where they're already at. Highest ranked overall on attack win rate for everybody involved. They're 5th on defense at 62, 1st in overall clutches, which you can argue is both a great thing and a bad thing, because it means they're in enough clutch situations to require themselves to win it, but they're high on survivability, they're high on plants, which means they are still very objective oriented by comparison to the rest of the world. They're 3rd highest rated overall, and they're compiling all of this into a formula that means they haven't had to worry about a deep, dark loss to pull themselves out of. It's a great trend so far for an invitational that didn't really have any other question other than, are they going to still be the same team that they were in stage 3? And they haven't been that same team. They've been taking everything seriously. They've been doing a fantastic job. And again, they really only need 1 map secured to ensure the group is theirs, because Heroic is tied with them right now, and Heroic don't have any games today.
Okay, so our teams are almost ready to go here, and I believe we have the map ban info up. So, gentlemen, I want to know your thoughts. We're getting that information up on your screen right now. And look at DarkZero. They got their war paint. They're ready to go. Okay, so what are you thinking?
All right.
Let's see, you want to be in the hot seat first?
Yeah, okay. You know what, Jackie? This almost looks like a little early Valentine's gift, M80 to DarkZero. Because listen up, DarkZero need the 2-0. Their map 3 really doesn't matter for them. They do still need to avoid that 4th place. It seems unlikely to look at that, but it is possible, so it doesn't completely not matter for DarkZero. But really what they care about is the 2-0. And DarkZero, very happy with Theme Park and Chalet. Now, don't get me wrong, Theme Park is a map that M80 can do extremely well on. It's a great map, 4-game win streak for them. But DarkZero also have a 4-game win streak on Theme Park. They have a 6-game win streak on Chalet. These are probably the 2 best maps that DarkZero could play. And not a bad pick for M80 by any stretch of the imagination. It's going to be comfortable for both squads. But DZ, for a team that desperately need a 2-0, I think they're very happy with this.
I mean, they also love their bank tendencies too. Like, it's a map that they don't necessarily play as often as you'd like, or win as often as you'd like, but they still play it about as often as they play Chalet, and Theme Park is also right up there. So technically, these are the 3 most played maps that DZ have. That's also going to be their kryptonite. If you're M80's coaching staff, thinking that because there's so much film on them, they want to find things that are easy to take advantage of. And for a team like DarkZero that is so dead set on doing the same strategies, their game, their way every time, if M80 can throw a wrench in that plan, they're going to do it. And if they do, they're going to win this thing.
Okay, predictions time. I don't know. Jesse, what are you thinking?
You don't
I'm
have to
divided.
know it. That's our job.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm Switzerland over here, but I'm on the line, so I want to hear what y'all think.
Well, Jacob's gonna pick M80 because
You
he's the
confused me with
biggest...
Jacob? That's an
All right,
issue.
my apologies.
Thank you.
Jacob's the biggest M80 fanboy in the world, so he's going to pick them here. But I do
Yes.
think DarkZero have a really good shot of taking this. Again, I think the maps favor him pretty decently. Whilst they're not really a 2-0 type team historically, I think that they've got it in them for this series. And I think DarkZero as well were one of the best looking NA teams coming into this event. Have they fumbled that a little bit? Sure, right? They haven't had maybe the perfect tournament, but they're still 2-1 on the record, right? They've only lost to FaZe Clan back on play day number 2. So I'm liking DarkZero. I know they've got a minute to come close against M80, so I'm going to pick them for this game.
I'm going to make this short and sweet. If you struggle against Secret, you will struggle against teams that are better than Secret. And DarkZero struggled against Secret, therefore M80 take the series. And that's not just as simple as that. You could extrapolate that in a whole bunch of other ways, but I love the way that M80 has been playing. They are fantastic in several different categories stats-wise, and they're playing an opponent that they are very, very well versed against. This should be an M80 series, and if not, I'm eating my laptop.
Please don't.
I'll do it on camera.
Okay, moving on. Again, will DarkZero steal first from M80? That is the big question here. A lot on the line for this one. Blue and Stokes, take it away.
Thank you very much, Jackie. And ladies and gentlemen, it is time to dive deep into our final matchup of the day. It is a North American derby between M80, of course, and DarkZero. Some of you may be wondering, like, M80, North American? Yes, technically, once again, they are a North American team, so we do lop them into that category. Bound to be an epic one. Stokes is with me once again. Stokes, let's get your opening thoughts on this matchup as we get prepared to head into theme park.
Opening thoughts, probably not a great thing if Jacob has to eat a laptop, but he probably wouldn't die because there was this one time where a person ate an entire plane. That is a real thing. You can look it up.
Interesting.
Yeah, one-seater plane, I'm pretty sure, but they ate the whole thing. I don't even know how you managed to do that. It was across, obviously, a lot of years, but, I mean, you're eating, like, filament and stuff. It's just, ugh. Either way, though, bound to be a burner between these two. You and I definitely excited for this one. It's a North American gauntlet to figure out who's best. M80 up against DarkZero, John. It starts here on Theme Park. The folks at home feeling like the analyst desk, 53% in favor of M80 in this series.
Very close community poll results. So the folks at home are split. Let's see if we get the full 3-map derby, or if indeed a potential 2-0. Specifically, DarkZero would be helping them out the most here. M80 can certainly try to lock in first place by going for a victory of their own, of course, but already in a pretty secured position. Mainly just going to be helping out with seeding, even if they end up getting bumped down to second as a result of the other game, and they end up losing this one. Band's well on their way, though. Jackal being the more interesting one so far. Aside from that, these are things that we have seen already plenty in the tournament.
Yeah, I think it's just a smart band here from M80. DarkZero, always been a team that if they're going to go for something like a roam clear, they're going to bring the proper tools in order to do so. So Jackal, not a bad spot ban there. Solus also going to be banned out by M80. Loving this across the board, especially with the two defensive bans. Be leaning into a lot more traditional siege ops for these defensive ends.
And so, into the round we go now. Initial picks as well. We're going to be heading down into Armory Throne. M80 obliging into the normal expected first off site here, and a usual expectation of utility to defend it. One utility mitigation operator, one operator to try and double reinforce the walls. That'll be Kino, of course, with those electric claws, and then a bunch of more individualistic operators aside from that. The smoke being played by Spirits for the ultimate delay inside of the site for the late round. Yaga and, of course, Gomez to continue doing so. Yaga will be out and about on that Valkyrie. Gomez, we can expect him to be deeper into the site.
Well, it's going to be Armory Throne. We'll have what I thought was a Legion there for a split second, but it's not. It's going to be the Warden there of Gomez. I was like, why is Legion climbing on top of this thing? No, it's a person with a shield. Makes a lot more sense now, doesn't it? So, I mean, breaking those things up, they're not going to have a zombie due to the bans, so not going to be as easy to try and seal up some of these doors or make some more pivotal positions around the site. And speaking of pivotal, M80 sending it to the sky. I want to try and go for the roam game here. See how successful that will be. They've cleaned up a couple of cameras around the area as well. DarkZero going to apply pressure, especially with the Monty play coming in. See how this works out for them, as it's more than likely going to be a clear and a duel up against M80's top floor hold.
We'll see Skies on the Montaigne here. A big first player to start working his way forward, but not going to be messing around too much with Dragon. or anything in that area just as of yet. Still need to gain a lot more intel on the DZ side before they feel the confidence to move forward and claim those areas of the map. The Montaigne should be interesting here going upstairs first. It's more likely to be used to kind of bully out any of these extensions from the M80 roster. You can see, though, M80 trying to play things a bit more horizontally this time with that additional presence over towards Lab to potentially fend off an arcade-sided push, but with, of course, the additional players also reinforcing things upstairs by the dorms and the cafe areas around the arcade.
You can see all these angles M80 have set upstairs, although they are mostly to the western side. Lots of angles for DarkZero to worry about. Canadian gonna attempt to sneak in. Reminder, Skies is the only hard breach in this scenario, so he needs to be extra careful about what's happening with that Monty. Canadian might be able to make a play out of this. You know, there was an M80 player in the vicinity. It's actually gonna be Kino.
He's like 5 steps behind right now.
A little bit back. It's going to be Kino that actually gets that big pickup as well. M80 finding some duels on the other portion of the map. Finally, DarkZero be able to get something back in their favor. Nice little entry point here from Skies. He didn't even open the actual physical site just yet. He's going to get this plant down. They know there's one in split. Monty's not going to have too big of an issue with this. Some nitro damage off onto Skies, but not going to be what they need. Going to try and pressure him down. No, the players have to be coming in from the rear. One doesn't get the second. Gomez now has 2 to deal with. No nitro cell, practically impossible up against Monty here unless he gives up the goods. Gonna slide the shield down. Canadian still right around the corner as well. This is looking like a DZ round here.
Just that very unsatisfying slap against the shield. Gomez tries to make a last-second desperate play, just baiting him out yet again. We are going to be officially past the null timer point here in just a second for Gomez. And there we go. He's officially out of time. Round's over. Even if he were to suddenly kill the 2 remaining players, he can no longer get the counter defuse off. So that will seal it. Round number 1 goes into the hands of our attackers as DarkZero takes it.
Fantastic drone game there from Canadian and the rest of the gang. You guys saw how quickly they were able to designate what was going to go on with that. Didn't have to breach a single thing. Canadian sneaks his way into Drug, and then everything's set in motion. They start applying pressure in towards Throne, get the plant going at the back of the actual site, and then that's when the rest of DarkZero strikes. Able to take down so many M80 members. It'll make your head spin. Eventually able to work that out, especially for Sky's sake. Such a fantastic play there for him. He was off on his own island, and he had to try and get that figured out, and still capable, even with that shield in his hand. So very well done from him. M80 not able to get things done on their roam strategy.
Not keen on the replay either, so they'll immediately rotate up, I believe, into initiation now for round number 2, and indeed that will be the case. Very similar operator lineup, the Mirror, of course, being added into it along with the Legion, but aside from that, things are going to remain identical to the lineup from the previous round. Attackers as well going to look very similar with just a few adjustments. The big play pieces, though, are still going to stay in play from the looks of it. Most notably, that Montaigne for Skies is going to keep itself rolling, considering how well it worked in the previous round.
Definitely see why it's a hot commodity when it comes to a map like Theme Park. So many angles for the defense to work, and Monty can practically walk through all of them with not a cause or concern. Really just do whatever he wants with the map. More than likely see Skies constantly playing something along those lines. So some logic bombs in the pockets here for Gavini as well. So we'll be bringing the Dokkaebi in. Should help with this clear here. Didn't have too big of an issue with that the last time. Able to identify things out very quickly. Reconciled with that. Able to get the plant down. I'm going to try and do something somewhat similar to get these hatches open on the top floor here to start, then transition down low. They got NJR still on these Roteros as well, so plenty of utility abound for DarkZero to use to break up the site.
They're going to continue to play out very, very slowly, as you might expect in the DarkZero game here, though, as they want to double, if not triple check all the pain points of their next move forward before really committing themselves to it. Specifically, we're going to see one of the players from M80 hiding out on the inside of break room here that's slowing them down at the moment on the rappel. Drone going in, immediately shot out by DS. I think 2 of them, in fact, potentially being taken down right there by him. Shifts position out onto the arcade balcony itself. Also a much better cross for this potential swing from DZ should they attempt to play it out any further. Of course, the rest of their team still trying to set up on other parts of the map too, but there's now a lot of time being committed to this one particular clear. We have to see what the end game is for this too, and we're finally going to start to see that. But what's going on with M80 in the meanwhile? Yaga accidentally knocking off the head of Gomez here. Skies has made his push forward, bullying the Mira back now on the inside of initiation, pushing her into the corner, trying to go for the spam as well. Nearly take it down, but he spins it right back. The Toxic Babe will force him to retreat slightly, but he's able to get the deployable shield back out and retreat even further when the second Toxic Babe forces him back into control.
Skies is about that action. Kino throws a punch. He's like, oh, you want to fight? Oh, okay. All right, all right. Watch this. Equalizes, able to stay up and on. That Monty can come in so useful here. That Nitro not going to be available to the defense here. Yaga with the deployable shield in his pocket, so can't assist through explosive means. Maybe some stuns in here to try and mask the sound across, and a lot of damage. Oh, is he gonna get caught off? Spirits is completely blind. He has no idea where Skies is. The impacts will deal the damage, though, to the Monty, and he will finally go down. DS, very low HP. DarkZero, no more logic bombs, 2 stuns, as well as Rotero drone here on NJR. Those stuns won't affect Yaga. Get the cross. Potential here for M80's round. DS able to take down NJR. Gavini, the new blood for DarkZero. He's dusted. Yaga's got it. M80 lock up their first round.
M80 hold on there. DarkZero relying a little bit too much, unfortunately, on the Montaigne plane. Well, yes, they're able to work their way forward, take full control of the site after taking down the initial defender being played by the Mirror there. Had to initially pull out, but then pushed back in, of course, once they dealt with the smoke in position. Problem is, though, defender still had enough utility to be able to deny the plant, as we just saw there, with that impact that would eventually take him down. And there didn't seem to be a good backup plan to reroute any of the attacking control over into an area like Office to pinch out the angles that M80 had. So they had a very easy time shutting it down from that point in the 2v2.
I will say it's very impressive with how far DarkZero can get in a round without Skies using any of his hard breach. They haven't used hard breach in the last 2 rounds, and they were able to plant and win one, and almost able to plant and win the last round, but M80 able to stop Skies in his tracks. They're going to drop the Monty here, move it on over to the Flores, bring in the ace here. NJR with the potential for secondary hard breach if they do want some redundancy, but other than that, DarkZero looking like they are ready for war when it comes to round 3.
Realize now that, again, the Montaigne bully strat is not necessarily going to be working out forever. They'll swap away from it from this round, get M80 to play things a bit more normally again. They're far too prepared for it at the moment, so they cannot justify going for it a third time. Twitch is instead in play now for Skies. We'll see him get a heck of a lot more active this round, and the rest of the team will correspond to that. Gavini still bringing in the Dokkaebi. That's once again going to be the big set piece utility as far as this team is concerned, and obviously we have more direct hard breach this time also, with Panda now going on to an ace. We'll see how much use he gets out of that, of course, as we up against a lab attack, so it's the top clear first that needs to be the priority from DarkZero. Potential unfortunate chain of events there too, as Skies may have just lost one of his Twitch drones, droning just a little bit too close to one of those mute jammers.
Indeed. Oh, all of this damage dealt by Skies. He'll take that. 1 drone, 2 canisters out of the 4. Half of the utility already burned early here for the Goyo, and there's no smoke in play. So you're really leaning on Spirits here, those Banshees, to try and slow up the entries of DarkZero. Don't have control over. It's going to have to be the residual utility that helps M80 if that situation rears its ugly head. DarkZero is going to begin clearing out the remainder of the building before they strike a DZ special here, as we have become so accustomed to throughout the years. Same with quite a few squads, but definitely a team that is known for how good they are, making sure that they cover their bases before they strike.
Yaga and the rest of M80 patiently waiting inside of that upstairs position for the first bit of aggression from DarkZero. It's not really going to be a first, it's going to be an all at once more than anything. If DarkZero executes and tries to clear this out in the way that we've seen them perform in previous matches, already a move towards initiation, an attempt to try and pop open the break room will be successful, as we don't have mute jammers corresponding to that. At the same time, Yaga is waiting on the other side of that window. We'll be ready for the fight if DarkZero try to lean into it. As you can see, like I was talking about before, it builds up all towards one big boom for DarkZero when they are ready to pinch in towards it. So Yaga does not even attempt to try and get into the wave. It just falls back down through the hatch, gets the heck out of there, and plays it safe to keep wasting out time.
And when DarkZero sends it up, it's like a supernova. As you said, John, a brutal execute, usually to follow. Everyone acting as a hive mind. Sometimes it'll just be Troy by himself as well, and he'll gun down 3. We saw that inside of the first round. Wouldn't be mistaken if it would happen again. NJR with fantastic position upstairs. You have to worry about the skeleton key when you play this site. Gomez, clearly not. The floor above him will be ripped open like a tuna can, and he's gunned down. DarkZero, solid position now. Get some crosses in towards the actual site with this verticality. So many spots for some players to be, but it makes it easy for NJR. The impact's out. Finally, M80 gets something going. Kino with a shot from inside of storage. Diaz able to get so much done over inside of Throne. Kino on an absolute tear here in Lab. Finally shut down by NJR. Minimal time. DarkZero looking for their execute opportunity, but M80 will shut it down instead. Kino feeling himself the SMG-11 jig.
Dance to a tune right there as he has a heck of a hold on the inside of Billiards, especially that follow through there on the SMG-11 to kill the bathroom push.
Oh my God. Gomez is just like, what the hell are you doing, man? What are you dancing for?
It's vibing.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, fantastic play there from Kino. Very well done from him. M80 able to take the lead again here on the defensive side. They're actually here for the very first time, as the previous one was a tie-up, so very well done to them. But a trend that is to be expected when it comes to the defensive end theme park.
They have this annoying little deployable shield setup go down in the middle green box for the players on M80. Gonna have to work it from the reverse side more than likely, but it'll work just as well in that position. Either way, no huge surprises when it comes to the overall setup from M80 here. The alibi pickup is going to be a fun one, obviously just giving Yaga that little bit more of individual freedom to play into it, so he'll be on a comfort pick there to continue roaming around upstairs. Still use the electric claws here to block out some of the walls and potentially that split hatch and a very similar utility outlook. Aside from that, I believe the exact replication of round number 1, since things unfortunately were not successfully held up by them back then. We're going to see if things work out a little bit better this time with Yaga being able to add that extra pressure, and of course, no Montane for the attackers this time.
All right, well, we've gotten through one site rotation here, and speaking of site rotations, let's have a little conversation about those while Yaga tries to get a spawn peek here. Obviously, theme park, 4 sites. All of them actually going pretty swimmingly for all squads, minus lab storage. It's almost equal. It's at 53%. Best one, 67 for initiation room and office. The follow-up, armory, throne room, but you probably already knew that. That'll be 60%. 56% is what shores up the rest of those sites here. And that's going to be bunk daycare. You guys already heard lab storage. That was the 53% one. So overall, 58% defensive win rate here on theme park. So far, so good for M80 when it comes to that stat line. And JR and the rest of the gang only able to get 1, but round 4 could be the tide change. Is the moon going to come up? I have to see here. Logic bombs out for Gavini. You can see every single person practically on DarkZero on a camera. -2, trying to see if they can find any of these M80 players around the top floor. Those logic bombs so useful when it comes to your drone game.
So we see relative inactivity across the map, though, considering we are back in Throne. M80 not taking any risks, and DarkZero as well, not being baited in to any type of setups from our defenders just yet. Half the round still to go as well, so plenty of time for both of these teams to adjust as necessary, but it's obviously DarkZero needing to make that first big move, and we're going to see that as they successfully pop open the hatch upstairs here. Shouldn't have been able to electric wall trick that one out. I believe both the electricals were already used by Kino anyway, so there we go. The split hatch open for the taking, and we can see DarkZero use that, potentially not as an execute route, but a supporting route for their execute when things get started here. Definitely going to need to try and pop open the primary walls along with it, however. Yellow going to be a bit difficult due to that electric claw we just saw going on to it a moment ago. Pre-placed Nitro going down here also up on top. Not going to see any play potential come out from that just yet, but in a few moments.
That probably wouldn't have done too much. I think it was under the wall there, so would have been some serious splash damage. Diaz is going to be able to pick up Skies. What a shot! Nice nade in, NJR will pick up Kino, so DarkZero get something here, but they haven't gotten any of the other walls open. It's just this hatch. They're going to have to try and drop in via split, and they're going to go for it right now. Case in the hand of Pambazoo. He's down on the ground. Case hasn't been picked up yet from NJR either. Gomez with a nice shot. Gavini finally fires back, and luckily enough for Gavini, it's only him remaining, so hopefully he's got a lot more in the tank. Stuns in his pocket, no drones, 15 seconds, and they know exactly where he resides. We're coming to your hood, and we're taking your cookies. M80 with some rounds.
A little bit too straightforward at the end of the day, once again, there for DarkZero, along with the fumbling of the actual diffuser as they tried to work their way into it. Things got a little rocky, and it was way too easy for M80 to shut it down because all the pressure was working its way into a connector there. Just had to have proper angles established to cross onto that one, and it was an easy shutdown for them. DZ's going to come in now with the tack timeout.
I was tremendously awkward for the positioning that DarkZero had there, especially for Yellow. So we'll see what they have to say.
I don't want to play Legion. Can someone play Arcs? Can someone play Arcs? Should I jump the mirror? Can I want to jump the mirror? After that, guys want to do what? Some bunk? Or lab again? Lab again? Okay.
Lab was iffy. I kind of fucking...
Watch out, they're too strong, bro. Every time they're again.
It went from double door.
Wait. Yeah. That's it. Let's go, boys.
So, funny enough, we didn't get to hear any of DarkZero.
Yeah, that was all M80.
We got to hear M80 that entire time, though, and you can see no cause or concern, really, with what was going on there. Pretty easy dissection from them. Hey, they're going double door. That happens to be split. Everybody calls things differently. Welcome to Rainbow Six Siege. We don't have proper comps for stuff. Yeah, but so the split door is what they were talking about there. So that little entry hallway downstairs, and how DarkZero just kind of sent themselves in via that. My big gripe with that entire scenario, John, is that they have all the verticality upstairs, and they have the means in order to get the Electro Claw off the wall for yellow, but they never do it. There's never another hole into the point to try and give M80 any grief. It's just DarkZero trying to jump down a hatch and really hope that M80, which is one of our best squads in North America now, messes up, which I don't really agree with. DarkZero is much better than this.
Well, as we see, round number 5 gets started. We'll have to see if DarkZero has been able to fix those issues. Like we said, we didn't really get too much info on what
I really wish we got to hear what they were talking about, but unfortunate.
Oh, they're tactical right there, just because we were listening to the M80 side of things instead. But no huge change-up, at least when it comes to the operator lineup. We'll have to see if stylistically anything's going to be a little bit different here, whether they'll try to add a few more elements to this attack. Because like I said, it's been at least 2 rounds now where they've ultimately only had 1 or maybe 2 angles to push into his site with not really all the prerequisites, getting checked off there. And as a result, led to a pretty lackluster push into the site.
Well, Canadian is going to adopt the Twitch here. Everybody running the 417. They also Alamau miss on the F2, and they're like, yeah, we're not trying that again. Unfortunate. Haven't been that big of a fan of the guns since that change either, so definitely feeling for the professional players in that sense. 417 also is just a great option. You used to only have 11 bullets total once you replace the magazine. Up that by 10, so heck of a lot easier to end up figuring out how to bring in, right? Used to be a bigger problem just because of how little, bullet count you had. Made it toward those follow-up gunfights that you usually end up getting in Siege. People try to refrag each other, right? Made them a big problem. So the 417 now just better because of that. And, I mean, past that, the DMR is also really releasing, or rather getting a buff as of recently. That's what I was trying to get at, and they're quite fantastic. So see if he can get anything done with that. This entire round has mostly been clearance here from DarkZero. They're trying to get some semblance of what is going on the base floor. Pamazoo almost there with a nice shot. He's going to give up the goods, though, around Armory stairs. Logic bomb off. Nobody covering him. Working his way in. Gomez with a big shot, but the cross all the way over from Office. We'll discover him. Has a hole immediately to his right, but nobody on the prowl. Easy pickings as Gomez will be taken down inside of Cafe.
1-1 exchange again to start out round number 5 here. Neither team with a definitive advantage to play off of as of yet. M80's defensive setup is being pressed back quite hard, however, so that is going to leave the room open for DarkZero to set themselves up now. Once again, setting themselves much more properly for the next stage of this execute moving forward. Past that, we'll have to see if they can make it work into the site here finally. Like I said before, things have been a bit of a struggle in that regard. Yaga inching forward here, waiting for the opportunity to strike, hoping that there would be a clearance on lower yellow, and he's more than likely going to end up being right about that if DarkZero's thorough enough, but I'll have to wait and see. DarkZero, I just noticed now, is starting to get a little bit low on time, and only 30 seconds remaining, but they strike true with another pickup, and now they should be good to move forward here. Spirits with a long cross, if he can get someone to establish themselves on it, it'll be a clean pick, more than likely coming his way, but look at this DarkZero, still barely moving at this point, just waiting so patiently for M80 to make the mistake, and they've been right about that more times than not so far. There we go. Only down to Yaga now on that flank, and he's already struck from it, so they know where he is. They know he's going to be hiding out here. It's the smart glasses out to avoid being affected by that flash, but the plant's going down. No way he can stop this. DarkZero well on their way to a second round here, unless Yaga steps up in a big way and won't be able to do so. MJR, the patient holds from him over by the dorm side, consistently knocking out all the aggressive swings from M80 and stopping any chance of them turning this round back on its heels.
Mad respect to both of the teams. You saw that mid game there and just how long it took because of the respect both of these squads have for each other. No one wants to be the one that makes that tiny little error that breaks the camel's back. So fantastic play all around to both teams. DarkZero might have the opportunity here to tie the score line up. It was a 3-3 overall. See what's going on here. NJR is going to get rid of the blitz. Bring that on over to the Buck. Have the Ace come in as well. Have the Yana in for some fun too. And seeing that get switched out every once in a while for DZ. Twitch always seeming to reside here though, and Gavini constantly on the Dokkaebi. So some big changes there for DarkZero inside of that last round, John. Some more patience around their play. Also that site and the way that M80 holds it. It's a lot more open. You know, they're bearing a lot more of their soul to DarkZero in a lot of different positions because of the angles that they have open for themselves. And that also played into key factors of how DarkZero handled that. They weren't as aggressive on getting breaches open and these other things because they could play patiently and wait for M80 to try and go for these swings, and it worked out extremely well.
So with M80 now potentially at risk of falling behind a little bit here. Good start initially inside of this map, but a 3-3 half potentially staring them. If DarkZero is able to repeat their success from the previous round, DarkZero, of course, be having to take the slow route as usual in that regard. M80 will have a setup downstairs this time. Sky's moving forward, quickly knocking out all this utility, just like he did the last time we went to this site as well. Dodging around a few players in the midst of the lab area, and then moves forward to pick up at least one more mute jammer here before expiring onto that one. Potentially may still have a second Twitch drone to throw out here as well. The normal drone's still in the open as well.
He's droning for his drone.
Kino here, trying to figure out just what the heck is going on and if he can knock these things out, but not able to find them so easily there. Just calling out pings, trying to get a yellow onto one of these players. They may have a top-down angle against him too. He may also be just trying to set himself up for a frag. It's Kino, 2-strike first, but Gomez will fall elsewhere on the map. So again, things are kept even. That 4v4 is almost a certainty, it seems, so far in the first half.
Pambazoo's actually me, I swear. Yellow ping and everything. I still lose the gunfight. Unfortunate. Unfortunate. But Skies, he's going to hop too. Oh, he's burned Kino alive. And he's got the F2 in hand. Sky's feeling himself here. Going to get this plant going on. Does DarkZero have the Overwatch, though? Or does M80 even know what's happening? It doesn't seem like they do. Spirits, 0 and 5 at the bottom of yellow. Can't find his fight. Can't find a duel to try and get onto the scoreboard. Diaz looking for something right now. Nitro Cell out for Yarg. A swing and a hit for Diaz. Try and get himself back into sight. Canadian's going to lose his lunch. And JR, the lone soul now, M80, somehow, some way, they've managed this into a 3 versus 1 with 20 seconds remaining. Shots out, they know NJR's outside. Only one impact, though, no Nitro Cells to try and get him to back off. Everyone's going to have to be aggressive. They're going to hold so many angles on this. Nice shots will take down the Alibi. Diaz, he's not aware of what's going on. Nice shots. Pistol out top. The Gone. He has the Gone 6.
It's going to get the drop
on the time, though.
Yeah. The time's going to run out anyway, so it still ends up going over to DarkZero. Beautiful delay to take that one to the bitter end and just barely push it over the edge. When it looked like M80 had the composure to bring that site back under their control for the counter.
I've never been more scared in my life than somebody playing time with a Gun 6 in their hands. I was so in the moment, I didn't look up at the clock. So when he switched to the gun, I had no idea that there was less than 7 seconds left. I was like, there's no way that he's planning to kill him with this Gun 6. Ridiculous, but it works. 3-3.
We end up with that dead heat tie here between both of these teams. DarkZero rebounds and picks up a 2-round streak towards the tail end after stealing away the first one due to their prowess on using that Monty to bully their way into Throne Room back on round number 1. Didn't have as much success with that on round 2, but they had plenty more tricks up their sleeve, as we were able to see. A nice tack pause recenters their strategy and allows those last 2 rounds to come in, tying us up now at 3-all. M80's on the attack as of the halftime switch. And we're going to see quite a few repicks for them as DarkZero is going to make the immediate return over towards Lab as their own personal first sight.
I mean, it keeps going like this. Caliber Jacob could be eating a laptop. I don't know. I'm a little worried for him now. Tiny bit scared. DarkZero on their first strategy here. They're going to try and hold the top floor. Obviously, it's not going to be where the defensive setup is, but it will be where part of it is going down. This is the main heart of their kingdom inside of a lab as well as drug. So we'll see what they can get done now. Plenty of delay here for them. They've got the frost mats in as well as cap cannon. On top of that, delay utility with the Goyo canisters. They have the Twitch, though, there for Gomez, so we could see a very similar story with the shock drone. Not the first one, though.
Unfortunate timing as it walks directly into the Valkyries, so we'll say quick bye-bye to that one.
Oh, DZ is on it.
Or Rotero drone getting denied as well as it tries to zoom its way into Billiards, not making it an inch further than that, unfortunately. Someone from DZ is pretty much immediately waiting to shut that one down. So M80, utility-wise, not the best start here, as a corner of the floor as and half of the Twitch's utility just gets gobbled right up. Gomez did just throw out the second Twitch drone, so we'll see if he'll be a little bit more successful this time around here as he begins the pursuit from the inside of Gong instead. Gonna go for the default here, just knocking out defaults it seems. He's gonna try to position this one a little bit closer to himself to continue using it deeper into the round.
That's theme park. It's like Clubhouse. There's seldom a thing that happens before minute 30. Gotta get drones going and get some semblance of what's going on inside the actual building. Make your life way too hard if you don't. I mean, like, there's just really no way about it. So, DarkZero is going to try and hold back all the way on the farthest portion of the building that they can for the top floor. It's going to be the arcade balcony right now for Skies. Plenty of escape methods available to him. Going to break up some more soft destruction with that Iron Fist. Frag grenade out. Speaking of iron, the shrapnel tag up Skies, but not enough to write home about. Move his way into break. Such a fantastic time delay. Able to pick up a drone here. Does M80 want to try and translate this downstairs just because of the timestamp that they've wasted so far? Gavini with a big pick onto Gomez here. All of the problems now boiling to the surface for M80.
Another 1-1 exchange as it just continues to keep happening here inside of this matchup. Teams cannot avoid that instantaneous trade. Whether it's M80 or DarkZero getting the first pick, it always seems to bounce back a second later. Now M80, the pressure on for sure, but they've already done some decent chip damage to one, if not two members of the squad here. So they've been able to find them, force repositions at a best situation, but they just haven't been able to execute upon those forced repositionings to actually score any additional kills as of yet, except for the one that was found against Panba. 30 seconds to go, so now the pressure's on for M80. How's the hot drop gonna work? How do they get themselves down to the first floors? There's still 3 out of 4 stacked up here by Arcade. Diaz is working it on his own in the meanwhile through that Billiards window. Chucks in the flash to burn things out on the Aruni gate, and still has at least one of those Rotero drones to potentially hop in here as well. Blow up some things, but never mind, he's using it for intel here. Gaveni gets the first strike back as the push comes in from M80. A second one gonna be found by him as well, even though he has a teammate go down a few seconds prior to that. Yaga, though, starting to get some revenge, gets Canadian, but again, Gaveni picking up and holding on consistently. Yaga putting that case down just before zero timer, but indeed not going to give his opponent the opportunity to trade him out. Just hops off of it. Is unfortunately no way to win that out there.
Just crouch and shoot that shit. Just hide. You don't need to shoot that shit. What, the fire's gonna pop for 1 second? It'll kill him. Yeah, he's dead.
Troy's almost pulled a Pangy from earlier. Almost said, well, he's crap talking him about. Yeah, but he's just messing with him about him missing effectively every bullet, I think, on that Goyo canister. I mean, I say effectively all of them because some of them didn't even like ting off of it. Some of them were like way off to the right. So I don't know if he was aiming at that portion. We'll have to see though. Love that Troy, even in the moment, they might be winning a round, but he's like, what the hell did you do that for? He's like, bro, there's 1 second remaining. And Gavini's like, well, it would have killed him. And he's like, well, it happens when he pushes behind you and shoots you in the face. You know.
Gomez, in the meanwhile, making the smart choice, re-picking off that glass and going over instead towards the Amaru here to see what can potentially be garnered from that in the midst of this round. Gonna be interesting to see it used specifically for Throne, of course. Probably will be used to get the hop on one of these extensions from DarkZero if we see it deployed upstairs. Quickly try and knock that one back out with a surprise hop in.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Gomez is going to have the hard breach here as well. Let me double check. Yeah, Kino's going to have hard breach here too. Okay, this is making plenty of sense. We at least have double hard breach. I was a little worried there for just a split second that Gomez was the only hard breach available to the offense, but no worries about that. Kino has brought that to the table as well. And speaking of Kino, he's actually had a heck of a game so far. He's died every round, but 7 kills. Tied up right now with Yaga at second most for the whole team. Diaz currently sitting at 9. Rest of the squad resting decently low here, but M80 as a roster is soaking up quite a few kills, so making it a little bit difficult to a certain degree to get their own KD spread built up. See if the remaining rounds have anything in the cards for them, though. Round 8 on the docket. M80 clearing out utility with Rotero drones. Don't want to get too aggressive just yet, especially with Gomez. Is a good little surprise factor here. And it looks like they want to try and potentially use him on the south side windows. Could fly in from any portion, really. It looks like he wants to go for break this time around. Potential for somebody to be on arcade balcony, and they'll have to worry about that.
Spirit striking first. Gomez prompted to actually hop out after that's picked up there. May have wanted to stick around considering the downing of Skies has now been completed. Gaveni hoping that there would have been a round over to revive his teammate, but it's not going to end up happening here. Panba as well, finally winning out the first engagement.
Oh!
Make it 2 as he clips the head, just barely there off of Diaz, over by Arcade Window. Equalizes us now down to the 3v3, and DarkZero going to potentially try to take the advantage, but never mind. Kino and Yogg, both with pickups here. Gomez did get dropped, but I believe the players that dropped them are now dead. NJR alone here in the 1v2.
Gomez is going to stay alive. Stun grenade out. You can see Kino still actively playing with this as well. Knows that since they don't have a read, NJR could effectively be anywhere. I mean, you can assume he's on site, but what happens when he's not? That's the key thing. So, NJR, though, he's going to keep this one close to the chest. Expected out of DZ. Routine, you could say. No stun grenades in just yet. Still the one on Kino. So a frag on Yogg as well. And the double hard breach in the back of Gomez's pocket, but really no way to try and write this up just yet. Frag grenade here, and JR easily able to circumnavigate that. Moves on to the far side of Split. Gonna get droned out. They know exactly where he is now, but M80 still not willing to risk it. Gonna hold the angle here for the cross, but this might be NJR's time.
Or not.
It's not. You were right. You were.
That sounded really mean in the hindsight of things, but yeah, unfortunately, NJR trying to set himself up there for success does not end up working out. M80 shuts it down there. Takes control of yet another round for themselves. Hyped about it too, as it means they do get to stay even here with their opponents, with DarkZero claiming that initial round. Locked us into a tie yet again, 4-4. Looking like we may have to go the full distance on this one to get a real winner. Bunk is next here for DarkZero as they'll rotate up there for the next defense.
Kino's looking at Vivas like he's got 3 heads because Vivas is just yelling back there. Kino's like, man, what are you so loud for?
Wow.
Kino's like, bro, it's 4-4. Like, we ain't won yet. What you howling for? Glass will be in for Gomez. More than likely won't stick. We'll let John talk about his opinions of Glass if it does.
Yeah, I don't like him. That's about it. We'll see, though, if it actually gets used to play. Yeah, it's going to get swapped out.
Put him back in.
It's more of a fear pick than anything. It just makes people respect your smokes, and that's really all it does, because like I said.
Here's the thing, there's no reveal face anymore, so they don't even know it's there until
they shoot it. Yeah, it just I think makes the defenders shift their playstyle when they realize it's there.
Oh, you're saying when it's in. I thought you were leaning into like they brought it in as like a facade for a second because the would see it.
No.
Yeah, no.
I was just trying to talk more generally about when it is in play. The Glass tends to force, but in my opinion, it never actually works. Like it very rarely gets a kill, to be honest with you.
It sucks too because it seemed like Sense might have been a pretty cool thing to try and work Glass in with, but unsuccessful.
Yeah.
Very unsuccessful.
We talked about this plenty in our previous games, though, so let's focus up on this round yet again. As now M80 is going to bust out that same Montaigne strat we saw from DZ. A little bit different in the utility department. They also are going to have a little bit more hard breach sitting behind this one this time around here, the usual assortment of attackers as well. So not going to be missing anything by bringing the Montaigne in here, but certainly going to be a different flair for M80, given the 2 rounds we have watched them play out in this half so far.
Interested to see how they'll assault the building with the Monty. We saw it from DarkZero. Sky is getting so much done practically by himself for the majority of it. See if M80 will do something similar. We could have more forward assault with that deployable shield gone here for DarkZero. Mismanagement on the Rotero drone as it gets in the room. Those things so difficult. Got about a split second to notice. As soon as they start, you cannot destroy them. So very well done so far from M80. So accurate. Look at the drone work. Look at the moves. Yaga putting them on skates with these Rotero drones.
That is going to prompt the opening 4 spirits here. He'll be able to move forward, begin to proposition himself. Eliminate these players waiting and break, but Gaveni more than ready for the challenge here on the inside of it. Catches the first player. Montaigne now going to try to make his positioning more awkward. Tries to go for the melee fight, but Gaveni gets it instead. Kino trades it back onto him, puts it down to a 4v3, but still DarkZero with the advantage because of the initial pickup from this hole.
Spears just got knocked out right there.
Tried to go for the melee himself, I believe, so that made him vulnerable. And ended up leaving the window open for his opponent to knock him down instead.
Try again. Cornhole. Oh, a little bit too far this time. Oh, well, my disc added the last
It's weird
second,
that the first one didn't get eaten up by that one.
I think Pambazoo added that disc right after he...
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I just didn't see that chuck.
To be honest, I didn't either, but that's the only way that happens. So
Trying to crawl past the little snack bar there. May have gotten seen in the process, but either way, can't really do anything about it at the moment here.
poor Canadian.
Diaz trying to wait for the hop up, but as you said, Canadian just sitting on the other side of this one, patiently waiting it as well. He's fine with this. This is more time being bled off the clock as far as he's concerned. He'll sit here all day because Diaz doesn't want to just 1v1 challenge this one. Moves forward, does get his legs, but he can't kill him. And NGR's now taking down his team on the other side. Canadian eventually will go down, yes, because he's in a very awkward position. He can't really fight from there. Surprised Diaz didn't try to push it sooner, but only had that security in the final moments of it. Skies with the re-peek, trades out for that first pick, and then to the M590 for the single final pump to end the round.
Dude, I slapped the Monte knife, and I somehow won the knife.
Dude, did anyone know that DS Lucas was a sledge?
Hear him talking about the knife fight there with the Montaigne. Definitely was a little weird. Second time that's happened now.
Yeah.
But I think that one makes more sense in the fact that the Montaigne did start his melee animation from what I saw on screen.
Yes.
And I think that, like, right now he's vulnerable. Like, now he can just be meleeed by anyone. As far
Exactly. He started
he's
it,
done that.
so his hitbox is exposed, right? And then obviously contact immediately after that. So actually, funny enough, Gavini starting his melee after Monty is what killed Monty.
Yeah.
Timings, baby. Fighting games. Welcome to it. Got any Tekken lovers in chat? Huh? Anybody? No? Just me? Okay. Martial law main over here, baby. You already know that. I made everybody cry the last time we played Tekken. Everybody was like, Sam, we don't want to play Tekken anymore. I was like, why? Pick up the controller. I'm only 47-0. Actually not. I'm not like I like have like childhood talent from that game. Like I never learned how to play it. I just played it for way too long.
I'm the pro Smash player that tries to get all his friends to play with him.
Dude,
and it's a very exhausting experience.
I don't even know how to like counter in Tekken. I know how to block and do all that kind of stuff, but I don't know like the parries and that kind of thing. So I'm like self-taught. If anybody actually knew what they were doing, they would kick my ass. But you know, it's at least fun to be able to rush people down, and you know, sometimes those translate over to other things like, you know, hitboxes and stuff and melees like what we just saw. So very well done there, and a little boon of luck for Gavini as he takes down the Monty, and you can see M80 pretty fed up with that, so no Monty in play.
DarkZero bringing probably one of the most micro-heavy defensive compositions I have seen, and the fact that M80 now has to check every little freaking detail when they move into the next room here. You have the cap can trap showing up. You have the electric laws potentially slowing you down on wall breaches. You have the frost traps whenever you walk into like a weird corner of a room or when you hop in through a window to worry about. You have the laser gates that you have to dump utility on. You see the point I'm getting to here. There's just a lot of stuff you have to do, and most of it is mandatory. You're going to take huge amounts of damage, or get outright killed. So this is going to slow down M80 by a huge extent, just by the nature of what DarkZero has brought to the table for this round.
Some people call it punishment. I call it Rainbow Six Siege. Also, did I mention that I hate myself?
Are you like imitating Auntie Donna?
I don't know. Like,
You're talking a lot like one of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's...
I forget which one, but...
Might have just quickly broken there.
It was the one with the long hair. But
DarkZero have set up an entire matrix here, and yeah, this is a masochist special if I've ever seen it. Utility abound, bringing me back to 2020, and when Goyo was way too strong for his own britches. DarkZero able to slow down M80, at least initially. They're not going to get any damage dealt to them, only a little bit dealt to the time, but M80's still good on that in all regards as well. A minute 18 left. It's really about what DarkZero can do now. They've got some spread defense on that base floor, so once M80 transition down low, they have to worry about this roam game.
Gonna give up one of the Rotero drones just to eat up the laser gate for right now. Still two of those frostbats sitting under it, though. The Rotero drone makes it onto it, however, so that will get rid of that potential issue on execute. Looking like a heck of a lot of top-down openings have been made, too. They're both breaching charges and the sledge, of course. Somehow that's happened, where we see the Goyo canister ending up taking down Gavini. Enjar was the one that triggered it from the looks of things in the kill feed there. It's still a very strange chain of events, as Gavini apparently just could not get out from that position, either due to those top-down angles or another reason.
I thought it was somebody else. He really self-immolated there? Unlucky. Looks like the assault might be coming. Oh, no, he gives the kill up to DS outside. They have positioned it inside of storage. The case on Kino. Where is he, though? 15 seconds remain. Kino's going to start the plant. Pambazoo working his way in. They know that he has to be coming in via the bathroom. Plant still stuck. Yaga takes out Canadians. Up to Pamba in a 1 versus 4. He's gunned down. M80 with such a solid hold. DarkZero basically let a peephole of sunlight through. M80 take the whole darn round because of it. Very, very well done. 5-5. This teeter-totter knows no end.
Very much the case. It's happening both with regard to rounds and even kills in the middle of those rounds as well. So these two teams neck and neck as they try to duke it out for a higher place position here towards the top of the group. M80 looking to lock in first. DarkZero trying to avoid more than anything that fourth place position here, by the way, in case anyone's wondering kind of what the stakes are since we're towards the tail end of group stage. Both these teams are...
This is the tail end of the group stage. This is actually the last game.
That's very true, yeah. Correct.
Sorry.
But yeah, DarkZero trying to avoid fourth place here because what does it mean? If you're in that position, well, that means you're going immediately to the lower bracket. So that's not the place you want to be here. If you make it to at least third, I do believe that means you're going to be starting out in the upper bracket position, so it makes things a little bit easier for you.
And just as a reminder as well, it's first place that gets to pick between the fourth place seeds, correct?
I believe so, but I'm not entirely sure.
I will quadruple check this on Liquid.
I don't want to give out any bad information.
Indeed, indeed. That's why I was asking you, because I was like, I feel like this is how things are. I read it earlier, but it's just want to double check. So I'll pull that up on Liquipedia while we're going through this round. But speaking of the round, looks like M80 are going to be sticking to their guns in a lot of regards. Going to be bringing the Doke in for Spirits this time around, so might help with the clearance here. Everything else making quite a bit of sense from what we've seen. So how you feeling about it, John?
We're going to be seeing it all unfold over the next few moments. Defensive setup should be working out quite well. Yet again, the Castle Barricade specifically hoping to slow things down both with regards to the site clear and, as you can see here as well, just the overall roam clear, forcing the hard breach to use a little bit more of their efforts to just get things started.
All right, so we got it here, so I'll explain it while we're breaking through utility and everything. First place team from each group advanced to the upper bracket, round 2 of the playoffs. Second and third place teams from each group advanced to the upper bracket, round 1 of the playoffs. Second place team in each group will pick their first opponent for the playoffs from the third place teams of any group, and the pick order will be determined by comparing the scores of all second place finishers. So it's second place.
Yeah, because first gets a bye, so that makes sense.
There you go. Yeah, making quite a bit of sense indeed. So good thing we checked up on that, so all of you at home are as educated as we are. Canadian gonna make it to where Spirits has a lot less sense, and so does Gomez. Their IQ now lays on the floor. Nice little pool.
2 down already for M80. DarkZero in a good position now to set themselves up for map point first, but M80 still gonna look for some revenge here. Yaga, instead of taking the painful route there through the laser gate, takes the one less traveled, opens up his own rotation to the top of yellow stairs. So I'm going to try to see if there's any roam game being played out down below on the inside of lab, but nothing to be found either there or billiards. At least not initially, however. I believe he spots it. The dash from one of the members of DarkZero down below. This is going to be Canadian on the other end of it here. It's already caused some real problems for M80 in this round, and is going to continue to, once again, waste out that time by maintaining this position here on billiards. Great movement there as well to jump up just when he thought he was going to get peeked in the prone position over to the shotgun. This will be such a clutch play if it works out. The nade is on old intel. That's some big damage, but it's too long range, unfortunately. Keep in mind that shotgun normally used to knock out paneling. It's not the best inside of a gunfight there. He just took a risk on it because I think he was running low on ammo for his primary, and it just didn't really work out this time.
Unless your name is Newers. That one worked out earlier today. Probably just favoring that because it was assuming that he might have been pretty close. Also, like you said, low on the ammo count. Oh, wow, Kino, what a shot. Skies will clean that up. Assumption there from me. Clean out. Now I got a 1 versus 3. This is the one that's going to be a little murky. Nobody going to give him a look. Oh, there's the shots. Gavini. Oh, please, thank you. Got a little risky there for just a second. You never want to see a gunfight break down like that when it's a 1vx situation. That's how those disjointed 1v1s start. It's as simple as a couple of misfires and then one of your teammates dies, and there's a big chance that DZ pull it back across the line, or rather M80 in this regard. DZ, the one with the round and the chance to close it out in regulation.
A great hold from DarkZero, and like you said, the first and only opportunity now to win this first map inside of our initial 12 rounds. Overtime may very well be in the cards, however. M80 has had good results with bouncing back from these individual round losses, so they are certainly not out of the cards in any sense of the words. Gomez is flashing that glass once again, so expect a few repicks, and yep, pretty much immediately that's like the repick operator for me right now, as that's immediately going to go over towards an IQ. The Nook as well, not really favoring it for this site specifically, and you could say the same for the Hibata, as that's changed to an ace.
John is the president of the Certified Glass Haters Club.
Absolutely.
He will continue to provide for everyone at home. I haven't joined just yet. I need like my lapel pin or something. You gotta send it in the mail. I don't feel official.
It's a postcard.
It's just a postcard? Do I have to bring the postcard with me?
That's how it used to work, you know? If you wanted to join like a club or something, you had to send a postcard to their headquarters.
God. Yeah, I'm not that old, Grandpa, all right?
I mean, that wasn't like me. It's just, I just know that.
That was definitely you, John. You're like 47.
Born in 95, so.
See, that's 2 years older than me. Old people, man. I can't stand them. Can't stand them, especially all those millennials. Anyways, DarkZero looking to close things out here about 15 seconds in, and they are just now tidying up those last little bit of utility pieces around the map so that we can get things going. M80 out of the gates now as well. A top hold for DarkZero that's going to be backed up with some deployable shields here. We're not going to have a Jaeger or Wamai in play, so those shields will be in utter peril if there is no laser gates in front of them. Those players will have to be very, very aware of their surroundings, as there's 4 nades built up for M80 at their disposal.
Gomez with clean drone work. He's going to be able to work his way forward. Tries to mask the drop there with that one little shot, but it usually ends up being pretty obvious anyway. He'll be able to venture forward here and more than likely get spotted out by DZ's initial hold in just a second. DZ with a bunker of their own, of course, over here by Break Room. Going to be causing some serious delay issues if we can't see a quick opening of these walls. Thankfully, we have not only the Ace to be able to open those up, but the Thatcher to help out with eliminating the electrified walls here, so it is not a problem in any sense for them to pop those open. Canadian, in fact, choosing not even to stick anywhere near this because of said opening, so he falls right back into the depths and relative safety of the site hole. For Skies, though, not necessarily the same thing. He wants to take at least one challenge here. Forced to rotate deeper into Break after he can't initially strike as hard as he'd like here. And also brought down a 50 HP, so I'm going to be a little careful about this. DZ shuffling as well, as they still have a few other players maintained upstairs over here by the arcade hall.
Well, they're trying to help him across in. Canadian dead. Does Yaga get both, though? I don't know if they know that Skies is still in the area. Spirits will go down. Pambazoo trying to help with the situation on the top floor, as things have definitely gone awry. No matter what squad you look at, Skies low HP in the back of Break. Pambazoo will pick up one on the stairwell. Heads back downstairs. This might be the opportunity Skies has been looking for when it comes to the roam game. Nobody aware of what's going on. They've miscalculated. Not a single person aware of Skies' position inside of Break.
Be a huge play potential here for him towards the end of the round. Keep in mind, DarkZero, even without him being considered, still have even numbers to match the M80 pressure onto the site here. It's just a waiting game now for Skies to wait this one out, provide himself the appropriate opportunity to shut down this execute. He may very well need to do so as well. Trigger discipline's going to be key here. Works out as he claims that first kill to hop in. He won't be able to transition it into a second one, so Diaz trades it out. We're back down to even numbers, but now the heat is on for M80 as they're down to their final 20 seconds to make an execute work. NJR more than ready for this challenge over here by the window. Does have to be a little bit careful. We do have that EDD sitting in the window. They're going to hop right through it, though. The damage is actually going to take down NJR himself, but it also kills Yaga. Brings us down to the 1v1 here now.
He's planning, Gav.
For the clutch.
He's planning,
no
Gav.
aggression being seen from Giveni here as he tries to swing towards it, but gets the winning angle. He can't find the kill, however. A second opportunity now birthed for Diaz inside of the 1v1. Close HP for both players as well. 2 to 3 bullets will kill either one, as Giveni looking for the route to kill him, and he will be able to do it. Much more room to work with, much wider angle to peek out from it. And for his opponent, just did not want to try and change up his position, so DarkZero will clutch it out on the 12th round and take back number 1, 7-5.
I feel like I was screaming at the sky there for a second. Oh my, Gavs, giving us all a scare there, I think, but able to work it out so close to overtime. But DarkZero taking M80's map, so very impressive by them. M80 now having to try and get figure things out here for map 2. Be changing up their strats, it looks like. You can see the analyst there trying to change some things up. Excited to get into map 2, and that's why we're going to send y'all to a quick break. And we'll be right back after this.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock. You got the diffuser in hand. What do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position. That is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, getting ready to head into map number 2 between DarkZero and M80. Just finishing things up on Theme Park, where DarkZero was able to close down map number 1 at the bitter end of regulation, 7-5 being the final score. Now we're coming up on map number 2 for Chalet, and DarkZero quite the record here in recent history, don't they, Stokes?
6-0 record right now, on a streak right now is DarkZero, but it's not all doom and gloom for M80, John. I'm checking some stats over here on Chalet. DarkZero's offensive side, their attacking win percentage, 50%, defensive win rate, 58. If we look at M80, though, win rate on attack, 58%. Defensively, 64%. So I think that this could be a fairly close affair like we just witnessed and what you guys are now witnessing in Hyperloop speed through Theme Park. So we'll see if things are going to boil over once again. This one stayed just within the brim of the pot, rather, didn't it?
Certainly did. Now it has taken us to potentially the bitter end of our regulation for map number 2 as well. These guys go the full breadth of it. We'd already been seeing M80 play into this map, I believe, earlier on in the tournament. This is where we had some big potential clutches coming out from players like Yaga and Kino as well. A lot of confidence play showing up because, once again, of the kind of open layout this map provides. A lot of roam presence that can be set up, and even if that's not a valid option here, those extensions, those bunker deployments can still very much become a part of pretty much every single site setup. So DarkZero is going to have a lot to work past here because they're starting out on the attack, and we are starting out, ladies and gentlemen, with the map. Let's get into it here. Chalet is map number 2. There's your poll results once again. If you didn't catch them, back on the first map, M80 does have that slight edge with you folks at home, but indeed, I would agree, this is pretty close to a 50-50 matchup. Our first ban is already in. It's a Dokkaebi, as we do not want to be allowing, M80 does not want to be allowing DarkZero to scavenge all the intel from the phone call. She's been a very popular pick at this event, and even the last one too. That's an interesting one from DarkZero, though, as they're going to knock out the Blitz. We've been seeing a decent amount of that Blitz play, so.
Is it all that interesting, though? Spirits.
I mean, yeah,
play.
that's what I was saying.
Yeah, it's really that. You gotta.
But is it worth the full target ban?
You're absolutely right.
That's why I say it's interesting.
Well, I definitely agree with you, my friend, and I think that even that should have us at least look at what the heck they tend to use on their offenses here. They have used Blitz 6% of the time in their Chalets. They've used him on one singular round ever, and guess what? They didn't win with it. So I will have to reside with your camp, John. I think the ban, not exactly great.
There is some past history that makes it seem like it's worth
a spot
it.
ban,
Yeah.
right? Like, totally makes sense. I totally see where their lens is at. Just trying to take away some safety measures that M80 have at their disposal. And that's the thing, when you're at a tournament, especially not only a tournament, right, like the tournament, our World Cup here practically for Rainbow Six Siege, you want to make sure that when people reach their limits, that they don't have the things that they're comfortable on. And that is definitely a thing there that not only for M80, but especially Spirits, if he can get Blitz and they get around going with that character, the entire game can change just based off that. It's like a fire starter for them. So might be a great ban here for DarkZero. We'll have to see. M80 could still lean into the Monty play, but DarkZero might want to have that in their back pocket as well.
10 seconds to go.
We'll see how this is all going to work out. The Gang Switch coming in for Canadian as well. Very execute focused from the looks of things for DZ, especially when you consider the Lion and Finka that have also been brought to bear here currently for the attacking side. M80 in the meanwhile here. Lots of reconstruction tools being brought to the table. Forms of intel and delay also being brought into it. Yaga once again ready to fight in the depths of the site there. Picking up the Warden, seeing what could potentially be brought out from that one. Once we see the breach bait into office, he can still peek out directly into that when DarkZero are ready to go for their own execute. Speaking of which, they are on the board now, so we're starting to see them swing their way up onto that bathroom balcony to begin to take some early bits of control. Where exactly they're going to swing that control, we'll have to wait and see for a few moments. As once again, as we already saw back on map number 1, and anyone who knows DarkZero will know at this point, they are an incredibly methodical team, not want to take any type of risk necessarily in the early rounds, so they want double, if not triple confirmation. Okay, I'm dead wrong because they're going for it right now. In they go. I knew something might have been up when we had the stack on bathroom, and they're indeed going to follow through with the execute Canadian with the most recent pickup on Nikito. Gomez has been dropped as well, but there's been some heavy damage fired back at the DZ roster. It's held things up in Solarium, and we have additional pressure starting to work its way forward from the inside of the master bedroom as well. NGR with the most recent pick. That's going to allow for a plant to end up going down to the ground. Panva pushes it one step further by eliminating Spirits. Also, Yaga now down to the 1v. 1v4. This is an unorthodox play as far as DZ is concerned, but it is working in huge dividends right now. Yaga alone inside of that 1v4, doesn't even see NJR full prone on the floor. Beautiful execute from DZ.
Did Boo Boo prep for that? Did you prep for that, Boo Boo? Did you prep for that? I don't think you prep for that! Boo Boo! You can't prep for me, Boo Boo! I just did that now!
I just did that now!
Great fucking job. Good entry, Gav.
I absolutely love Troy Droslovsky so damn much, man. This guy has made my job for the last 4 years one of the most entertaining things to do in the world. And so is a lot of these.
He makes a good point.
He does. He does make a fantastic point. And not only that,
A loud one.
but that is the hallmark of a good IGL. I made that up on the damn spot, and it worked, my boy.
And I was talking about it as it happened. Like, look, DZ normally doesn't do this. They're a super slow team. They're like 20-second executors. That's their hallmark. They very rarely do anything hyper-aggressive. And literally, as I'm in the middle of saying it, rushed execute directly into the site. It's like, whoa, this is not the DarkZero that we are used to seeing on a round-and-round basis. And M80 certainly getting surprised by it. Tried to hold back the tide, slowed things down a little bit in that Solarium to bedroom transition, but unfortunately still too weak of a defense ultimately. And DZ was able to still forge their way past it and have a pretty easy post-play.
Yeah, and here I was, going to make a point about how Mint reached all the way back into his dark little black book and found that strategy and was like, all right, guys, it's the time. But no, Canadian just felt it. He's like, all right, this is what we're doing. And I respect that way more than having the strategy set up already. I absolutely love it. Got to play the chess game, baby. That's what separates the men from the boys, the greats from the goods. Well, Canadian happens to be one of the GOATs. DarkZero up around off of his efforts, at least when it comes to the strategy, the deliverance, the rest of the squad, and that's nothing but trust. Very well done from them. 40 seconds in now, not nearly as aggressive as they once were, but that's the beauty of a situation like this. Now M80 has to sit and wonder, John. They're always going to be thinking in the back of their head, do they just push? Do they swing us? What happens here? I don't really know. Can't guess exactly what DarkZero is going to do now.
You're noticing a lot less of a stack from M80 trying to directly challenge initial entries, that's for sure. They're sticking much more heavily into their actual bunker setups, as well as the site itself. So DZ gonna make their first bit of entry with Skies taking full control of the car garage. A little bit worried about there being a roam down here, but he'll ultimately be all clear as far as the current setup is concerned. Panba beginning to work his way down there as well for another pinch against it. We actually do have someone from M80, I'll correct myself, toying around here, but it's pretty far detached from both of their positions. It's going to be the Solus played by Gomez, currently at bottom of blue, so the direct polar opposite where the current two DZ players trying to push him are playing from. He should remain safe and be able to escape here unless he overstays his welcome, which is a possibility now that he repeaks this. And yeah, there we go. Gets baited right into that fight. Pamba, no problem at all taking him down with the advanced intel.
I wouldn't even say baited. He fully wanted that. And Pamba's just like, all right, cool. If you want to fight, we'll fight. DZ picking to pieces M80. They finally get something back. Extremely relevant as well as they pop off for 3. This is the one thing about M80. I mean, try as you might to try and take
another one.
Gunfights, but I mean, they can swing with the best of them, and it works out yet again here. Canadian's going to go down to the frost mat. Stuns in here. Oh, actually a nade out. The window's not even open. They'll pick him up, and it seems like these frost mats, especially on Chalet, constantly nipping big players in the butt.
So another one bites the dust as a result of those frost mats.
Those
here.
HP bars, though, for
I was
M80.
just about to talk about that for M80 here. This is absolutely winnable for Panba. That's why you probably saw him trying to rush so hard to get to his teammate on the inside of there. A possibility that maybe he could have brought him back up. Realistically, probably wasn't going to happen, but maybe he thought differently at the time. Panba just tapping away. He certainly knew that those players were low with the way he was trying to peek that there, but just could not get the intel in time in the right spot there. So M80 holds on just barely, as Stokes is mentioning, with those health pulls, but they do indeed forge their way into a second round, or first round overall for the map, as they tie it up at 1-1.
1-1. DarkZero with a lot of opportunity there, just a literal misstep from Canadian as he ends up walking into a welcome mat. And then, wouldn't you know, they're not very welcoming, actually.
Attackers need to locate and
A name is such a lie.
What are you talking about? They give you a big hug.
I think they should rename those things ankle biters. That's what they should call them.
Bear trap hug.
Bear trap hug. Yeah, the worst kind of hug, actually. Well, M80 gonna throw it into bar game after that successful defense. DarkZero having a lot to say initially in that round, but some big kills from M80 and a misstep yet again from DarkZero. ends up leading us to this scoreline. It's going to be a top floor defense along the lines of what we were talking about with M80, and you have to when it comes to this site. These panels of the utmost importance, especially for Gomez's position, is he'll have the deployable shield in here. They're going to have anything to try and stop these throwables. They will. They have spirits around, so you can potentially put some of these Wamai discs out and try to assist with the initial bombardment from DarkZero.
Camera feed up and running.
It's par for the course that we have these 2 rounds being traded back and forth between either team. That was a very similar element to our previous map also. So if those half win percentages that Stokes brought up before we got started with this map or any correlation, we could be in for another very seesaw-y game here if the teams are as adept at adjusting to their own mistakes as we saw back on the first map for Theme Park, which again is a credit to both of these teams that they're able to fix their issues so quickly and for the most part immediately rebound on the following round. You can even see that in the kill department too from what I was talking about on map number 1, because of the fact that initial kills are not necessarily translating in any huge advantage from what I've noticed, at least throughout the course of this series. Players are pretty much immediately getting those trades back in a lot of these scenarios, although that has cooled off a little bit as they have figured each other's play styles out. DZ though, lined up for another big execute, gonna try and force their way in. Lasergate standing in the way though, slowed things down. Yaga and the rest of M80 seemingly ready for the pressure. Panba trying to forge it back, has the connector under his control, but the rest of his team has fallen by the wayside. The upstairs hold way too strong. DarkZero tried to move in without properly clearing it out and have had to pay the price for it, putting Kiveni in a very rough 1v3.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
Case in hand. Stuns up through the hatch, eating up from the Y desk. Lots to do. So much time at his disposal as well, but practically an impossible situation. More stuns out just to try and mask the sound, but I believe Deliverance is coming for him. And it's going to be pretty swift. Spirits drops down, M80, and especially Vivas. Very happy about that one.
Definitely the case. DarkZero trying to test their capability to play these more aggressive rounds here, feeling that they might be able to force the issue yet again. This time ends up being potentially a wrong call, however, as they are shredded to pieces in no small part because of that upstairs hold. Now M80 has the double round back-to-back pickup here. They're in control of the lead. And a possibility to push it even further under their control too. But I imagine DarkZero going to slow things down a little bit, gives a more traditional look at their own playstyle to try and stabilize things and tie us up again if they have control over the situation, of course.
Probably so. These defensive sides have been pretty finicky for a lot of teams. Try and get their heads wrapped around when it comes to the offensive perspective of this map, and looks like it's once again befuddling DarkZero. That first round, so strong. Able to bully M80 into better winning position for themselves. DarkZero, though, now need to change some things up. Canadian's going to bring in the Buck. Nook now for Skies as well. He hasn't been playing the utmost aggressive operators. He's been playing a lot of the heavy utilitarian-based things. And once again, he's going to change it up. He's going to go over to the Lion instead. So still going to stay in that relative same realm.
DarkZero now spawned out. Let's see what their initial move is going to be. And more importantly, how do they approach this now that they have shown this more aggressive side so far in the map? Do they try to force the issue yet again, storm in for map control once their players have been able to stack up towards it? Or do they do what I think they're going to do this round? Potentially slow things down a bit more. That was the initial impression I got, but we have seen the operator repicks change the lineup a little bit since then, so maybe I will end up incorrect about it once more. Either way, slow rolling for the first 30 seconds as DarkZero does try to suss out that additional intel and properly position themselves. Want to get all these windows and stuff open too. The cast barricades are interrupting things for a moment as they do want access to all of these important windows, especially here on the northwest side.
Order a process for DarkZero, and they're following it as they would routinely. Break open these castle barricades, frags in now. Potential kill here, Yaga sticking around. They don't have anything to break up the wall, so that's more than likely why he was in that position. Everything is open up top, so wasn't really too worried about anything really happening, but they had a drone in there, and that was the biggest issue. Another one, again, M80. They've been discovered, although they have no idea that this is the case. Pambazoo with a shot on Kino. DarkZero, like you said, John, they're going to take their time, able to take down Yaga. Looking for a little bit more here over towards the top of blue stairs. We have a singular body. I believe that's DS. It'll be over here in this corner. It's either that or the Legion. It's going to be Spirits here with the helmet. Always hard to tell between those two. Back and forth they go. NJR with a big kill, 2 down. It's all up to Spirits. He gets 1, but 4 to find, John. A nigh impossible task.
The only successful duel being taken by M80 so far here, going into their favor by Spirits. It's not going to last very long for him. Can't take a second, let alone the 4 more that would have been required to win the round. So a convincing one for DZ after a slight misstep back on round number 3 there, playing things a bit too forwardly. Quickly adjusting yet again to once more tie us up 2-2.
All thanks to that beautiful man right there, the president of presence as well as patience. Always able to figure things out, set tone, set pace. Able to figure things out with his squad. And honestly, that's the thing that I've always loved so much about Canadians' IGLing style, or just like whenever he's on a team, the way that they play the game, their ability to change up their timing, slow things down, speed things up, always on the same page, relatively speaking. Obviously, sometimes rounds go awry, right? But for the most part, always with each other, playing things out so very well. We see it on full display yet again for round 4. M80 now have to recoil and see what they can get done. Going to be a mid-floor hold here. Actually, excuse me. It's going to be a basement hold here. I thought that was in the kitchen for just a split second, but obviously ill-advised by me. Yaga is going to be the only one with anything to try and seal up these walls, so these Electro Claws going to mean quite a bit. DarkZero don't really care too much about that in the first place, though. So they are going to bring Thatcher. Not going to bring any secondary hard breach on Pamba, as they do have Gavini as well as Skies, both on relative hard breaches. Relevant as well. Gavini going to get tagged up initially here already from the helicopter spawn.
Just a tag, so still going to be in fighting shape. And keep in mind, of course, he is the hard breach, so technically a secondary hard breach, so he needs to just keep himself available more than anything for potential late round utility deployment. Skies starting to push back, though, because he was alone in this breach, except for the momentary support he got there from the Thatcher, so does not want to end up sticking around too long-term here. Backs away from it, just needed the opening for later in the rounds. Now needs to regroup with the rest of the boys and begin the push forward to clear out the rest of those extensions, whether they be on the second floor, further out from the basement, or elsewhere on the map. It's slow and methodical past this point, as that has been the way to win for DarkZero for months, if not years at a time in the past here. They have indeed locked into that after bringing out their faster strat from their pocket back on round number 1 here. A little bit more hesitant to make a return to that, given what occurred on the 3rd. Very, very slow windup is going to be occurring as they have to try and methodically hunt out players like Spirits, currently positioned, I believe, in that upstairs bathroom spot. Those will be the priority targets initially. And indeed, you can see the drones going on top of him, but Spirit's going to be in pursuit of at least one of those drones because he gets spotted from his utility, picks up the kill, but now he's in a hot place, ready for the challenge, though. The spin to pick up one, and he nearly gets another, as Spirits is brought down to just a sliver of HP from his action. NJR will eventually take him down, however.
Bull in a china shop, Spirits. So many DZ bodies lay on the floor, all because of him. So well played on the top. Well, M80 now able to at least get the initial part of the round sealed and dealt with. DarkZero, though, still with an opportunity, although definitely a lot less percentile-wise than what their chance of winning was prior. Even able to breach up at least a couple of panels here inside a fireplace, but nobody really trying to give up anything at the current moment. Can't blame M80 either. So much heavy lifting done from Spirits. DarkZero, though, they have to try and enter at some point. Skies is going to have the case for this as we enter the last 30 seconds.
Skies positioning himself to swing here, but there was a lot of resistance, more than ready for the challenge on M80's side of blue there. Great patience, however, from Skies. Knocks out one target. Has already seen the repeat from another one, but he's going to be held back by a Toxic Babe. This is not something they could have afforded to have come down here at this point. That's going to be there until 4 seconds are left on the clock now. Big issue, and he's forced to run through it because of that. Continuing to force his way into it. NJR waits on the other end, establishing that overwatch with a smoke going away, but no, the cross is against him from wide and partially in blue as well. Plant still ends up making it to the ground, and number numbers will stay even until Yaga reactivates, gets it down to a 2v1. Now Canadian sits low, but he has the established Overwatch from up on top here. Yaga at low HP. If he could take him down, of course, a good start to this one, but he'll go for the big rotate, assuming that they would have tried to pressure him out, and they're correct about that, but the proactive hop out from Yaga, it won't work. Canadian reads into it, but Gomez reads one step further and take him down at the snowmobile garage. Plenty of excess room on the clock, so that counter defuse will be coming in, and M80 will be claiming a third round.
Back and forth we go. M80 gonna win the basement after Spirits gets so much done on that top floor. Vivas filling that around, and can't doubt him on that one. It was a heck of a show. Canadian DZ still able to get it down to the 1 versus 1, still able to get the plant down, but can't muster the round. Hard fought from them. Really have to give them the benefit of the doubt, especially after what happened on that top floor. You think if they have just a singular other person, just one more, they more than likely are able to pick that one up. Looks like the all chat now starting to be rung up with all the energy going back and forth between these two benches. So lots to be had here, lots of activity between these two, lots of entertainment for the folks at home as well.
Well, that's not necessarily the reason the chat's going out for now. I don't know if you noticed Yaga's operator pick there, but right side.
What? Oh, fair. I see. Well, with everybody going, oh yeah, I thought I was going to see Oryx, to be honest, so I was looking for purple.
I think that's what the chat was about, because when it got locked in, he was like, you know it, in the chat. Like, so.
I mean, we'll have to see. Could this be, would it be our first interrogation? Maybe? I don't think I saw one on Twitter. We usually post it when it happens.
For this event, yeah, I'm pretty sure. We've had other Cav picks, though, I know that.
Yeah, but I don't think we've gotten an interrogation yet.
Correct. So. Yeah, I don't think we've had one yet either.
Man, and it's at the tail end of group stage too? What's happening here?
I haven't had one in a while, really, I don't think, to be honest with you. I can't recall one in at least like the last 2 events or so. But
we definitely had one at Youngshipping, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, surprisingly enough. I think it happened in group stage too.
That's where all the fun's had, it seems.
Yeah, it seems like they always want to do the super crazy stuff either here or in the grand finals. There's no in between. I've never seen somebody hit a fadeaway SMG 11 shot until the day that SSG played Ninjas in Pajamas on the grand stage of SI in 2020. But, I mean, it was awesome. It's definitely awesome. So, well, about a minute in here now. Not too much going on. That's kind of why we're off on our own planet right now. Everybody's trying to figure things out for DZ. They really want to make sure they know what's going on in this building. Not a single person getting aggressive. Finally, it's going to happen. And it's going to happen! Interrogation Yaga!
Full information now given to defenders. They know exactly where every single attacker is across the map. So a massive boon to M80 here. Immediately, DarkZero has to call for a hard reset because of that one. That as well will be a massive advantage to our defenders here.
That's just a little tee-hee moment from Yaga.
And the thing is as well, DarkZero knew it was in play. That explains why they were being so cautious, and even still, they get tripped up as he's hiding in a tiny little pocket over by the car garage there that usually is not going to get checked. So nicely played out by Yaga to make that happen. They did end up losing Gomez, of course, in response, so still locked to a 4v4. But the inherent advantage of the reset is still in play.
I mean, Troy, all that time and you don't even drone your own entry? Come on, man, it was half the round. A little ridiculous there, because we have a lot of the DZ bodies on the roof droning things out, but maybe Canadian just too good for it. I'm just messing with him. A little unfortunate for him, is more than likely the only corner he didn't check in that garage if he did. So unfortunate, but now M80 might have DarkZero at a loss. Know that there is still potential for a roam game. They were able to equalize with Gomez and get back into this round. More than likely, not another interrogation going to happen, knock on wood. You're a DZ fan. Swing in here from DZ. They'll be able to pick up one. Finally, some active play from M80 on this top floor. Spirits looking for some more. Diaz will take down 2 with the 2 versus 3, making it 2 versus 1, or rather 3 versus 1, as it'll be Gavini. He'll get taken down by Yag. The Lujan pistol will get things going. Our pseudo-Brazilian squad able to make the Brazilian operator work.
Nicely done by M80, giving us a fun round there as well, just before we switch sides there to end out their half. Beautifully done. Locks in the advantage here too. I believe 3-3 was where we were at for the previous map. This time it's M80 forging a path forward here, 4-2 in their favor. Instead, keep in mind, they're on the back foot of the series at the moment here. It's DarkZero looking for the 2-0 victory in this one to ensure that they do not end up in 4th place for the group.
You know, I never understood with Cav why she gets to know where everybody is. Why would you tell her if she's just going to kill you anyways?
I guess it's a rule of the
Team Rainbow?
Yeah, this is a simulation, right? So
if Cav gets you, you have to tell her where all of your friends are. They're like, no.
it turns on the laser tag sensors that the attackers are wearing or something like that. Like it's one of those things that just like, yeah, just go with it, you know. Don't question it. Just let it happen.
They're all these amazing agents, but you immediately crack under pressure with a sword to your with a sword.
Not very loyal.
Sword. A knife to your neck? I mean, come on, man. Like you said, just not loyal at all. Come on. Canadian giving up the goods there. He's just telling them where all of his friends are. You'd assume Troy would be loyal to DZ.
Where's the no option when you're
actually, Kev, not today.
It's just a quick time event when you're the
oh my goodness.
If you do it good enough and you don't get interrogated.
I'll have my people talk to you. Anyways, getting into round 7 here. M80 and the rest of the gang will be out and about. Master is going to be the site choice for DarkZero, and it's the best site in the entirety of the map win percentage-wise. It was over 60% there for a little while. I think it's just under now, sitting right around like 58%, something along those lines. And M80 are ready to assault it. They have so much utility at their disposal to be able to assist with this, especially with the Ying coming into play. Excited to see how these Candelas work out.
Spirits waiting for the challenge, has more than likely seen something, and I believe he has the yellow ping to support his play there too, but oh no. Panbo with 2 potentially going his way here. Second player too far against the wall, so he cannot get the confirmation off on Yaga. His position quite literally saves his life right there. Spirits gonna be down by an aggressive swing by Canadian, however he won't get away with it. Gomez trades him back out. NJR and Yaga enter into an eternal duel, and Yaga wants the full piece of it. He's gonna be forced into it, but has to take down a different player first before getting the real challenger that tried to jump out against him. NJR going down to Yaga, leaving it all on to Panba once again. M80 are on a tear right now, looking to get themselves quickly up onto a 5th point.
DarkZero have woken up the beast, it seems.
Let's go, Gomez. 5-2, got round back.
Let's see what they have to say here, if anything.
Go. He was whiffing. How dare you, Big Chalet! You go.
How dare you?
Cut it off at the worst part, or the best part, rather.
I wanted to hear the punchline. How dare you, he says.
Horrible timing.
Oh my, offended that they even decided that this was a good map. Wait, huh? Okay. What?
They did this before, if I remember correctly, like in either yesterday's game or the day before that. We saw, assuming this is M80 doing this here, we did see them do this once before after like Yaga had that big clutch. They did the same thing in yesterday's match too, so interesting. Let's listen.
Maybe.
We literally did. Read that. Absolutely perfect. We're watching the right things at a time. Whatever. Do we want to run any more war to this? Do you think they're going to kind of do that shit again?
I think so, if you can.
Yeah. Alex can take it on this.
I just don't feel like shotgun is like worth. Like I'm just not hitting the shots. That's
just get all my walls, Alex. I'll make we're missing sight holes. We're missing sight holes.
Okay.
That's fine. I'll make the top holes. Nick, make all the sight holes. I can get all the top holes. Alex, you have to get the 2 closet walls. The solid wall,
okay. Awesome.
The 2 office walls.
I don't have time.
So, as I think most of you at home probably thinking here, and our graphic just corrected it as well. That was actually a DarkZero timeout, as would make kind of the most sense in that situation. We just had a misclick there, I think, in terms of who the pause was for in games.
Yes, our nameless admin hit the wrong button. We'll leave it as shrouded as possible.
All good.
Yes. Oh, of course. I mean, everybody messes up in a while, John. You should see my casting.
We'll get back into this one for M80.
Thanks for laughing at my casting, by the way.
It's all good.
You ass. How dare you? M80 will be back in on this one. We'll see what they can get done. The timeout from DarkZero, like you said, that one making a lot more sense just coming from their angle and how things have been going so far. M80 dastardly when it comes to this map, it seems, not only from the defensive perspective. Looks like this offense also giving DarkZero a lot of grief.
Certainly looking like that is the case here, as DarkZero finally needed to bring out the pause. Only 2 rounds in excess at this point as well that can be dropped. But don't get me wrong, this is still a palatable one for DarkZero. Assuming that this round does not go awry and they finally start to rebound things back under their own control. Still very much in the cards that we can see them win this one out. So do not count our defenders out of the play just yet. Although M80, like we said before, certainly in pole position and leading by quite a few seconds at the moment. This Canadian trying to work his way upstairs. Definitely sees the drone work going on over here by the side entrance. So we'll keep watch in case there's going to be an early attempt from M80 to take control of top blue. Malga certainly trying to justify it, but he is very much on his own in that pursuit, so more so just gathering intel than anything else at this point. That's going to change now. Spirits actually makes the hop in. He heard the footsteps or something else indicating, oh, maybe not. Man, but with the yellow ping, he knows for certain that there's a player sitting below him, but he does not want the direct challenge, so he'll back up. Canadian also just steps away from a potential player sitting on the other end of that doorway here. Gomez with the walk in the lineup, but the timing is so slightly off, so Canadian will be able to survive it as he dashes behind the wall there just in time.
Rainbow Six Siege is a horror game, I promise. So many of those little moments that we get to build up to. People just within like 10 feet of each other, and they have no idea. So crazy to me. Obviously, like I said, we have the benefit of the doubt, so that tends to happen pretty often. But Yaga, rest of the gang, only able to get that damage off on Canadian, get some presence around the base floor. But when it comes to the actual physical site, there hasn't been too much minus the window rappel that DS is holding right now. And he's not even playing actively on it. He's going to hold Trench door down low because they had the call that Canadian was downstairs. And there's big potential for him to run out and try and kill somebody. Skies with a big shot. He'll take down one. He might be dead soon, though, if somebody's holding trophy. But nobody's home. Kino, stun one out. Nitro cell. It goes off too early. Big kill for him. Opening things up now. Case will be at his fingertips. Diaz with the cross. So much to do, though. Kino really needs a kill here. Oh, and he'll get it. Takes down Gavini, but Pamba takes down Diaz. No longer an opportunity to plant. Kino has to win it out in a makeshift 1v3. After, well, he already got that initial kill. It'll be a quad for him on the round. He's going to try and dawn the site, but oh wow, what an angle from NJR. Prone on the table. I'm going to have to see this one on our kill cams here. It's through the table, ladies and gentlemen. It was not to the side. He used that shotgun.
Kino as well just went wow in the chat after he saw the angle.
That is disgusting. Absolutely gross, John. I have never seen a single person die via that angle in my life.
And the Kool-Aid Man chant again for some reason.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get ourselves back into the game here. Definitely one we're going to try and take a peek at later on if we can get that one on replay again. Excellent, especially for our post-game segment there. So that was a very nice pick off there, even though obviously it doesn't change the overall scope of the round, but nice to appreciate those little things we get from NJR and the rest of DarkZero. Speaking of which, they are indeed back in the game now with a convincing round like that. Possibility for a swing comeback is still alive and well here. We have to see how M80 looks to respond, as they have been just as proficient in making these adjustments as DarkZero have. Call back, of course, to that first map as evidence of that, as we were seesawing back and forth for pretty much the entirety of the map. 4 to 5 repicks going to be deployed by M80 this time as well, so a big change up. But that potentially just expected the wrong site to play out here, or wanted to mask their overall lineup. Either way, it's not going to be any huge earth-shattering changes, just adopting the Lion and the Nomad to get a better watch on their opponents. And of course, Yaga now bringing the Flores in to deal with the inner site utility.
Excited to see if that castle barricade that was prepped works out for the bathroom balcony. Ended up punching that and making it towards only one punch away from being destructible. So make it a little bit easier there for DarkZero if they need to get aggressive on some of these swings. They're going to be playing Office and Master. Past the castle, they still have some other cool utility around the area. They're going to have the Solus in here as well as the Warden. Warden been getting a heck of a lot more play this tournament based off of the amount of executes that we've seen as well. I mean, why not? He's so good at playing back against smokes and stuns, and really the only thing that can stand that tall in a position like that where he can actually have some say as to what happens to him in those gunfights. So see if Pambazoo can get some things going with that. Are going to have some presence around the blue stairs. Potential for this to get droned out as well as an EE1D to come through. It's going to be Gavini here. Get rid of some of this EE1D out. Any aggressive looks? No, not a single hair has moved. But you can see it now from M80 as we get light of what Gomez's position is. They've completely sealed off all of his exits.
Spirits with the shot. Strikes first here and able to take down Gavini. Canadian, though, with the immediate response back to that. He's now one of the stronger players we've had from M80 inside of this game. Spirits to falter next. So we go locked down now into a 1 versus 4 scenario yet again. Still half the round to play out as well, so another team really going to end up being stressed for time at this point. Just those early exchanges going back and forth. And now the rest of M80, especially with the opening being made over towards Office. going to be breaching out of containment now, starting to take up proper positioning to swing themselves into the site. You can see the silhouette surrounding the area, but Kino taking the battle all on his own. NJR attempts to position for a challenge, pays the price for it. So now his team down a player here. No easy way to make it up, it would appear either. Well, Panba makes an attempt, but Yogg's ready for it. Knocks his opponent out instead. DarkZero now with no choice but to just sit back and wait for the execute as they no longer have the numbers to play aggro.
Skies and Canadian, two longtime North American players, two veterans of the game, and they have to clutch up. Skies, he can't see through his own smoke there. It blocks his vision. Canadian gunned down as well. M80, they're on map point. They can push us all the way through this best of three. It's right at their fingertips. Just have to reach out and grab it. DarkZero, do believe need 2 rounds in order to force this overtime. A little update here, 3 rounds actually. That's going to be hard fought for them. It's going to have to all be done on the defensive side. A perfect defense for their full site rotation.
Fell 1 round short of overtime back in map number 1, but this time they have the opportunity to shut this one down. Still with plenty to go inside of regulation. DarkZero nearly losing with that advantage, of course, put into their pocket, but they only had the single round with which to execute upon, and thankfully they were able to come out on top of that one. For M8, it's a little bit different. They can breathe a sigh of relief here because they've got some excess time. DarkZero, it's all about making it up here and now. Those very delay-heavy composition coming out here. Lots of mitigation deployed. The slowdown mechanics are in play, of course, between Canadian and NJR. Panba, the only really solo-oriented operator, going to be showing up inside of this round. Kamani as well, of course, giving himself some more of that individual play just on the Jaeger, but his utility will be poised to help out the team.
Indeed, placing these things around the top floor, have these laser gates here as well, and I mean, that utility very adaptable too. You can put it on windows, doors, and soft paneling, hard panel, anything, just walls, all that kind of stuff. Fantastic piece of utility coming from the Arunis. Guys are going to be using that on some of these windows. Just as a reminder for some of you that might be fairly new to Siege, you can reset those as well when they do get burnt up. It just takes a little while. You shoot the very top of the window where that little metallic piece is, and it'll reset that gate for you about 30 seconds later. So, very well done so far from M80 to clean things up from the first map. I mean, DarkZero giving him a lot of trouble when it came to theme park, but Club is looking, I mean, well within their grasp. And especially going back to what we talked about earlier, DarkZero might have a 6-game win streak going on this, but it's not like M80 or Slouches either. I believe they have a 4-game win streak going on this, if I'm not mistaken. And even past that, their win percentages on each side respectively are fantastic. So, I mean, if you care a lot about stats, you could have seen this potentially coming.
Kamani gonna get burned out of position. The same thing nearly befalling Skies, but he remains safe inside of that tiny little corner at the other edge of this bunker deployment. Because of that, M80 not going to feel the full confidence to go forward. Gaveni also able to rotate himself back up to the top of blue, so he once again has this upstairs presence maintained. Also, M80's first attempt to clear this out has not really been too successful. And you can tell that because they don't feel the need to try and actually push in, hop commit to their windows as of yet. Panba with some flank work being deployed against him. The door going to be opened. Is he ready for an immediate challenge? Tries to pre-fire the spray, but it's on a much more drastic angle that he would have had to go for it to pick up that kill. Tries to dash across, and he will make it, but now he's in the hot seat here. There's nowhere to go. He's kind of just stolen Skies' position a little bit. Obviously does not want to get in his way directly, so goes to a corner nearby where both are now kind of just awkwardly tucked away here.
I really hope that Skies doesn't cross back across that angle. Could be his death. Canadian's going to go down first to Gomez on a counter there. Keena's going to breathe in a little bit of toxic smoke as well on the balcony across the map. NJR will actually be the next one dead and gone. M80, they've picked DarkZero to pieces. Wow. What a decisive round there from M80. Not shaken, not flustered by Theme Park.
Big final execute coming in there as well. Not missing a step along the way. Beautifully done. Forcing DarkZero just directly into a corner. Forcing them to waste that one out. Beautifully done here by the M80 roster. A well-deserved map number 2. And a much more humbled DarkZero on the other end of that one.
Very quiet DarkZero there. Was seeing if we got any cool comms from M80, but nah, everybody's very excited about the 2 maps that just happened and excited to get into our last. So we're gonna throw y'all to a quick break and we'll be right back with map 3 to round out the day.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a 2-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
Welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. Map number 3. We have made it all the way to the bitter end of this series now. M80 giving us a shutdown on map number 2, ending a 6-map winning streak for DarkZero from previous plays here on Chalet. Beautiful stuff from M80 over the course of it, especially once they took the mantle on the attacking side. Things continued to go back into their favor round after round again. And now we are going to end up on our 3rd and final map, Bank, to settle this one.
It's bound to be a fun one. Bank has been up in the air for a lot of teams here at SI, and this one could be a burner. Obviously, DarkZero not able to top out the group anymore. That's going to be M80s as they extend this series, so very well done from them. But now DarkZero fight to not be 4th in the group. You can see just how tight-knit this is that's exactly what the competition was.
Absolutely the case here. NJR topping things out for the DarkZero side of things, and we were seeing him be quite impressive over the course of that map played out there. You can see some of the other members that were really present inside of map number 1 struggling, however, in this one, was really giving either the new pickup for the team, ending up 0-3 on opening kills, although they did have another member of their squad a little bit more positive in that regard at 3-0. It was Kino and the other members of M80 that really took over command of these situations inside of the rounds on the previous map, so we're going to be looking to keep that momentum rolling into map number 3 too. Once things get started here in just a moment. You can see the final preparations being made. M80's coach hyping up his players. They'll be doing that plenty when we get in the game too, as you guys have probably seen quite a few times at this point. Just waiting once again for those ready-ups to come in, and then Bank will be getting started here to settle it. And M80 will be looking to lock in first place in the group.
Yeah, I don't know if Vivas has constant nuclear fission going on, but he is just a ball full of energy. It is quite impressive, but what's even more impressive is this bout that we have, and the fact that it's went all the way to end our group stage, and you love to see it, don't you, John? We got a break tomorrow, so we gotta burn it down tonight. It's going to end here on Bank. M80 up against DarkZero. Let's get into this. M80 has the first ban. What don't they want on Bank? And making a lot of sense. Get rid of that, Ying.
Ying is out pretty much immediately there. Do not want to be dealing with that for basement attacks, window attacks on the 2nd floor. Most sites, to be honest, are valid for a Ying play at some type of nature, so we're not going to see her be the valid choice this time, as obviously she'll be banned out. Montaigne is the response to that one. DarkZero and M80 have shown him at least once in this series, and he's very useful on this map specifically for those types of, once again, basement plays, or ones where you have to try and slide him in through a choke point. So another ace ban as far as I'm concerned, and then we have a zombie up next to start out the defender bans, and Solus as well. Once again, our 2 newest kind of power defender operators are going to be kicked right out of the match as they control far too much of the zone when they are allowed in play, both with regard to intel for Solus and just overall map control for the Azami, being able to constantly spam those barricades in some instances, especially on this map too. You think like a 2nd floor defense, we've seen it a few times now where players are trying to throw utility in through the repelled windows, and there's just another zombie barricade showing up like 3 seconds after the first one's destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely. The characters are crazy, you know, and I mean, even past that, Mira's been banned for how long routinely as the highest defensive operator? Probably 5 years. She came out in, what would that be, year 2, season 2, I think? That was Coastline. So it's Velvet Shell, I know that for sure. But either way, ever since that moment in time, ever since, you know, attacker and defender bans have came in, she has always been at the top of everybody's laundry list. Then all of a sudden, with these very recent characters coming in, everybody really started to prioritize other things, and it's opened up the gates to a lot of strategy on the defensive end, especially just getting to see Mira more, which is something that we seldom get to see, really. So nice little change up there. The devs finally getting something powerful enough where people are like, all right, cool, we have to ban this. We'll leave Mira up. So you'll love to see it. M80 have deconstructed the entire basement in preparation for DarkZero's arrival. And speaking of arrival, looks like it might take them just a moment, as it might be clear here for them. They have NJR on the Jackal, potential to find some footsteps here, and also a roam game active inside of open area for M80.
DarkZero taking things nice and slow, as you come to expect with them to start things out. As Stokes said, they do need to clear open pretty much directly, though, so there's going to be quite a bit of resistance in the way on M80's side of things, notably Diaz hiding out in the far open corner. He'll be sticking around here until the pressure boils up to too much, which means more than likely He is stuck there until DarkZero finished their upstairs clear. Spirits quickly giving up second floor positioning after he was droned out near the stock hallway. Catch is actually just the Yana drone, I do believe, walking its way through the room there. It's not going to be anything super actionable as of yet, but nice little bunker setup on the inside of the break room does allow him to maintain presence, where we also saw Diaz continuing to maintain open. Just a nice little cross between the two of them here to try to support each other. And as long as those reinforced walls don't get taken down, Spirits still should remain in relatively good positioning. With the castle barricade gone, however, things are going to get a little bit dodgy. He can no longer overwatch his teammates cross, and there we go. The soft panels that were not reinforced are a problem also. Just way too much movement involved in trying to maintain that position, so Panba eventually puts him on ice and knocks him down to score the first kill of the round.
I'm honestly surprised that Spirits put himself in that position, but unfortunate for them. Also a little unfortunate situation there for Pambazu, as he had to expend both of his frag grenades just to get one castle barricade. The first one actually not blowing it up, so had to commit the second one to open up that line of sight. DarkZero get the initial kill, but a lot left to do here. 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining. Plenty of bodies on the site for M80 and a decent amount of utility to try and stave off this plant if DarkZero continues to take so long. Kino has 3 smokes. That's 30 seconds of denial and a nitro cell here for Gomez. The smokes start now. What are we going to go for? I saw just a little object fly in, but nothing going to proc. DarkZero might go for a full-blown assault and just try and dig out this entire site. See if we can scoop out the M80 defense and win it in that regard.
Under a minute now, and it's been incredibly quiet from DarkZero, except for the burnout of the players in open area. Still as well have some presence over by that part of the map, but the fact that we have a castle barricade blocking the way. NJR down through a hatch. Yaga has knocked out Panba in the first attempt to actually descend down to the basement also. Canadian finally trading things back against M80 and scoring a second kill for them on this round. That does give DarkZero the player advantage as a result of that pick here. Things looking a little bit better for them now as they try to go for the plant. Sneaking it so far in the midst of that smoke. It's gone unnoticed for the most part, and a cleanup to follow it through. DarkZero took them a while to get their feet onto the ground in the basement position, but once they were there, they did not move an inch and very quickly shut down what remained of the M80 defense.
You got to feel for Kino there. He practically danced around the planter inside of that smoke. Ended up using all of his toxic babes towards drop-down points and other entry points, just not on that main smoke that we saw. So, I mean, pretty easy plant for Skies in that situation.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused.
All's a steal as well. Just hold that F button and look away. Just don't even look at the screen, John. Just keep holding that button, get that plant down. Don't even consider it. What I always told my friends and teammates and that kind of stuff when it came to those situations is, listen, if you go to plant and everyone said you're good to plant, it's not your fault if you die, so don't care. Blame it on everybody else. That's when you get to look across the bench and be like, why the hell would you let me die? You said I could plant. So, very well done from DarkZero. Stick that thing, put it on the ground, let it sing. DarkZero get a round. And M80 now, after recoil here, try and get their own round on the defensive end of Bank, which has been pretty equal, actually, this tournament. I do believe 53/54% defensive win rate.
The picks are now locked in for DarkZero, of course. That Gridlock being brought to bear. This will be fun to see how they try and use it. Gridlock kind of one of the more interesting operators, as we've been slowly seeing her pop back into the meta ever since, for me at least, it was the last major where I started seeing it pop up first. And has remained a bit consistent since then, even though we had the player break, of course, been seeing it just about as much at this event. Appears to be a flank watch at first, but is a little bit more complicated than that, as it is normally used. As Stokes mentioned, we were talking about this the other way. It's great for blocking off access to staircases and can also be used to kind of reinforce the sites for an attacker when a team is ready to move forward. Block off usual rotation paths that defenders would normally take, as you're going to see NJR do right now here with the security room downstairs, making it impossible for any type of blue play to come out from M80 without it being quite obvious to the DarkZero roster, at least.
Yeah, a lot of noise will go down in that basement, whether it be an impact or constant gunshots taking out those track stingers. DarkZero have their flank set up now. M80 have to try and deal with this a little bit more bullheadish than they could have done before. See if they're presumptuous here. They are taking their time on both sides of the coin. Nobody wanting to try and be the one that commits an error. Yamazu's going to be moving in the lobby side. Beautiful play here for the Nook. Exactly what you want to see play style-wise. Think he's going to make it all the way under here. He's going to let this recharge as well. Super, super intelligent. Oh, Spirits! He went back to the well, John. Pamba Zeus down there with a gun. You're going to shoot him right in the face.
Stared into the eyes of the void and couldn't look away, unfortunately. Pamba, the patience there, pays out for him. He remains stalwart, just waits for that headshot angle to line up, locks it in against Spirits. There's some heavy damage done to him still, of course, but we'll see more of that already traded back onto players like Gomez, who's also in a very similar position now, trying to maintain this little bit of an extension in Archive. Skies, nicely done, just barely spots his foot poking out there. Gomez goes down. No more Archives hold, at least not from him, but we do have Kino still in the area. Able to cause some problems as well with 45 seconds to go here for DZ, still at pretty much full strength still.
Welcome to Rainbow Six Siege. Did you not consider your ankles at a 45-degree angle from square? Well, you're dead. All because of that. So, unfortunate for M80, they'll get picked up by DZ. Big boon for him here, but the clock is starting to be somewhat of a factor, but DarkZero will nip that in the bud as soon as I bring it up. Some nice nades, and wow, a flawless round here from DarkZero as they are running over M80 here on Bank.
Good start once again to show up from them, and this is one that DarkZero do end up needing to win, or more than likely will end up needing to win. It's important to note, of course, that FaZe, little spoiler here in case you're trying to watch all the games, FaZe are currently in the lead and are on the precipice of winning their match on map number 3. If they win it, then that means FaZe is going to overtake DarkZero and push them into the lower bracket, unless, of course, DarkZero closes out this map, at which point they will then regain that position and I believe send FaZe into that spot.
Yep. Yes, indeed. DarkZero playing to not get 4th here in their group.
Attackers have discovered
So far, so good on their offensive side through 2 rounds. Round 3, right in front of us. M80 still feeling as confident as ever. Spirit's gonna send it to the sky in order to reinforce this inside of stock. Looks like we could have some potential presence on this mid-floor. Some things broken up here. You can see the angles going in for cafeteria. Castle barricades going up around this space as well. This is going to be an interesting round here, John. I'm excited to see how M80 wants to try and hold on to some of these things, because the way that they've set up these barricades means that there should be some presence around here for them to try and, you know, stop the hatch from getting opened and some other things. They don't have exactly the most reinforcements there, but definitely enough in order for M80 to stand up on this roaming strategy.
And just as confirmation as well, a little spoiler alert, FaZe has closed out that match, meaning that indeed the statute I mentioned before, where DarkZero now needs to win this map, is in play. DarkZero either wins this map or they go to the lower bracket.
Okay. Thanks for that update, John. I really appreciate that. We'll update on Yogg as well. Gonna be the top floor presence here for M80. We saw one more up there in the likes of Spirits. Beanie's going to be droning bottom square. Yep, Spirits and Yogg up here, but both of them starting to peel this back on the top floor. It's like layers. It's like an onion. DarkZero not having to do too much of the lifting when it comes to that actual peeling, though. Maybe are doing it themselves. DarkZero back to this patience game. This is what we're used to. It'll be dead silent across the map for a minute and a half, and then 3 bodies will all of a sudden hit the floor. I'm expecting that to pop off here momentarily, to see what they want to try and do with this presence inside of open area.
Half the round still to go as well, so DarkZero not any lack for time. And this is one of the sites as well where they pretty much have immediate access to the execution point. Don't need to really steal huge amounts of map control away. They can just guarantee that flanks aren't going to come back to haunt them later on into it. Canadian in a bit of a peculiar position as well, as they try to box out any of the rotates that would come from those upstairs positions. Yogg with a dirty little peek from the headshot angle, though. It's going to prompt Canadian to try and force out the Selma. That will, of course, get his opponents into the side hall there, where Canadian thought he was going to be able to kill him. Instead, it goes very much the other direction. Yogg claims the kill. Another one on top of that is found elsewhere on the map also. M80 with a definitive advantage here now, down to a 5v3.
Yogg had all of that and a bag of chips, knew exactly what Canadian was going to do off that Selma play, pre-fires him and gets the goods. Gavini and the rest of the gang now have to try and clean this up in a 3 versus 5. Some smokes in Sky's pocket to try and influence this, but they have Warden still and the likes of Yogg, so don't know how well that will work out for him. You can already see he's got the goggles on. He's prepared, prepped and ready. Skies is going to try and electroclaw things up. Oh, that EMP.
Sounds close.
So very close, John. That would have been a terrible way to lose a round, all because you couldn't miss, or you couldn't time your EMPs. It would have been a misplay there. JR gonna try and drop in. Gavini with some big kills and an opportunity to try and put this plant down.
MP immediately being thrown in as well. Gavini having to fire forward. Skies masked by the smoke, gets his plant onto the ground, but the Nitro seals the deal anyway on top of one more there, I think, from Spirits on the rifle. Nice denial works its way in, and the defenders hold strong. M80 finally with the first round on the board here in round number 3. DarkZero still in control currently, 2-1.
Solid play there from M80. Yeah, some big pickups from them initially, get some nice kills under their belt, but it really came down to the utility play off-site. Nice little instance there for Yaga, as well as he sealed the deal up against Canadian inside a parking garage with that aggressive front towards the single panel. So he tried to have some influence over Red. So M80 are going to go to staff room, open area. I'd like to talk more about the defensive win rate of these sites overall, but Bank is basically like 52 to 55% per site. You just pick a random number, and I'm sure it's one of those. So a little slight advantage over towards the defense. So DarkZero are able to pick up one more round, then, I mean, they are indeed beating the odds. We'll have to see how that goes. M80 so far only able to pick up the round that we just saw, so might be a tone setter. So they're gonna try and hold this down on the top floor yet again.
Attacker's objective is to defuse the bomb.
Beepers are going off like crazy as Gomez rotates back around just to lock him back into the depths of the site here. He'll leave him in a much more secure position as we have DarkZero out on the map. Gomez bringing in a cap cam for the first time on this map. Pretty trap-heavy alignment here for the M80 roster. They'll be combining that, of course, with those frost mats too. So have brought back the track stingers again as well to try and hold back those rotates a bit more so they can focus their bottom square, execute a bit more precisely without having to worry about those counter flanks. More likely going to deploy 2 here again, just as we saw back on the previous round. And there we go, just dump those. That guarantees no blue flanks. In fact, 3 of them this time. Pick up a drone along the way to reposition himself now on the outside of this push and get ready to start making some real progress on the map control. Yeah, you're definitely not flanking blue with all that down there, just to really make it certain. You got a quick glimpse of it a second ago. In case you didn't, though, 3 full track stingers. That's like a room and a half blocked off. There's no way you're getting past that.
Last second there from Yogg, he got it. Very well placed impact will get the Rotero drone off. That's the only way that you counter those out is explosives once they're activated. So, do you believe that's downstairs? Okay, no, it will be on that. It was just covered up via the little white logo there, so he'll roll that on in and potentially get that shield. Still, all those track stingers down low, so no flank going to be coming through from M80. Gavini will be the first one to pick up a kill, and Gavini, so far so good. I've been very happy with his play. This is the first time that we've been able to see him, you know, out in the light, John. And it's so far so good. 5-1 and a plant for him on this round. Skies went down, as you saw, whilst he was going for that. They'll open up the soft paneling here and make their life tremendously easy. It is a 4 versus 4. M80 will have a chance to retake this, but the positioning very strong for DarkZero.
Kino with the pump to respond to it. Pan, but nice little snap there. Keeping the team in front of the situation, but the missed magnet gonna cost him big. Thankfully, grabbing another kill, even against Gomez there. He technically trades Gomez the Nitro Cell pick, and then Gavini shuts things down there. A little bit of awkward gunfight towards the tail end of it, but it's DarkZero with the control, and still controlling the lead is important for them here. What we mentioned previously. Up with an advantage here, still pushing themselves forward. 3-1 over M80, looking to lock in a guaranteed advantage on halftime with at least one more round.
DarkZero with their calculated and dedicated play style, making things work on the offensive side for Bank, which usually is a routine thing. We're used to Bank being offender-sided, so potential for it to be in the cards between these two. I will hold my breath for M80 as they've been quite impressive this entire tournament, so wouldn't be a big shocker to me if all of a sudden we went to overtime.
Certainly not the case. Just a matter of M80 waking up here, bringing themselves back into the fold and bringing up the confidence that seems to be lacking a little bit more here, at least the success of said confidence, as we had found back in maps 1, and of course, map 2, a very one-sided way, they were able to take control of that one. DarkZero, not going to be too surprising here with their operator selects. Was flirting with a Jackal for a second, potentially directly counter out the upstairs positions, but not going to end up being the choice. They try to double down on their hard breach instead by having NJR go over to the safer pick of Ace. Canadian also feeling himself and his possibilities in this round. Will pick up the Ash. So we'll see what type of aggressive adventure he may try to get into in the first minute or two of play.
Not only that, this man's headed back downstairs. It's like he resides inside Garage or something. Saw him the last time here with Ace. That little instance didn't exactly work out. This time, though, gonna be a completely different ordeal. The site isn't down here. There shouldn't be nearly as much presence. Might potentially be a body. Some players like to sit down here and suss things out. That's why you see Canadian kind of wrapping slowly here, and he's finally found the defense measure, the mechanism. It's just barbed wire, it's an audio cue. Canadian's just gonna sit here while everything else is going on around the map. As Selma going off, Canadian's gonna move through the barb whilst that's going off. Again, you can see the combo action. Even though it's all the way up on the top floor, he's still helping Canadian get in sight due to all that audio. Some nice shots. NJR covered that for Troy. DZ, they're all over him. Oh my God, this is truly disgusting. Welcome to biology class, folks, because this is just utter dissection.
Wasn't even like the full explosion it looked like as well. You could see it, like it did the weird like peppering of the floor right there. So the nade wasn't even perfect, still not Spirits down. Obviously didn't get the full kill because of that one. Oh, look at this cross from NJR again with the coverage here. Shuts out one. Spirits can't even realistically peek it now because he knows that NJR is here. So he's just sitting back, time ticking away. This round is gone. And look at the calls coming in there. One more, go for it. Come on. Let's see it. Oh, no! The knife comes in. He doesn't even catch the rotate from Canadian over by main stairs.
Oryx, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Spirits. Oh, man. Unfortunate. But I will say this. See how damn fast that was? That was ludicrous speed. Disgusting stuff there from DarkZero. 4-1 scoreline. Letting M80 know that just because it's strategy-based doesn't mean it can't be quick. Get that Selma down on the E3 wall, and everything happening at once for DarkZero. We didn't get to see too much of the Eastern assault there, with some of the nades flying into Archive and stuff like that were dealing some serious damage to the top floor players. But everything that we got to see on the West End, you know, the Ash play, everything going on with the windows, and everything encompassing lobby was all so very magical to watch. An experience is what DarkZero just handed us.
Experience and a half at that, as it gives another lights out execute to put them in a commanding position here. Best case scenario for M80 now 4-2 at the halftime switch, and even that might be a difficult one to achieve here. As like we said before, DarkZero really taking full control of this attacking half. Just a few more rounds realistically going to be needed for them to be able to close out and reclaim their upper bracket position coming outside of the group, which would mean that FaZe, more than likely, is heading into the lower bracket to start out our playoffs in about 2 days' time. Keep in mind, folks, that is important to note as well that we are not immediately going to go to the playoffs tomorrow, as NJR just casually walks in for the first kill here. Spirits none the wiser to even what happened to him. Seemingly ready for the fight, but apparently not. He goes down. However, yeah, just to confirm, our playoff stage is going to be starting on Monday, not tomorrow. So you do have a day off if you've been watching us throughout our entire group stage, and props to you if you have.
Yeah, thank you so very much. Really do appreciate you guys, and even the people coming through from the drop. So we hope you stick around a while. You know, Siege Esports is quite entertaining. We know the opening minute is all drones, but when it gets down to gunfights, we have a really good time, I promise you. Utility's pretty fun as well. You'll pick that up over time, though. There's a bajillion different ways you can use this stuff. I've been doing this since 2015. I'm 26 now. I'll let you do that math. It's been a while, John. It's been a freaking while. Spirits already dead inside of this round. DarkZero doing what they do best.
Nicely done.
But M80 with their own utility game here will counteract that.
We're going to eat up one of the can openers here. Still some excess remaining for the attackers, but We'll have to see how they try to get in the way of it now, as they're not going to have an easy way necessarily to counter out the electrification that had just gone down on top of that one.
Wow.
Yavani with the perfect angle here just slaps Kino in the face as he tries to peek out towards blue. Bye-bye to him. M80 just cannot make anything aggressive, at least, work here inside of this half.
I wouldn't be mad. It's like, guys, I died to a countertop. I don't know what happened with that, but
a countertop with bullets.
Well, it's just like anything, right? With any FPS where it's you know, pretty info based, simply adjusting your heads, you know, where your head height is by getting on something, proning, crouching, whatever, is the most annoying thing to deal with, because you never expect stuff like that. You know, you're hoping for a flick out of a guy, but still hard fought for M80, MJAR, and the rest of the gang making quick work. 5-2 right now. The damage now being dealt. Canadian, I don't even think he's going to have anything to do with this. Yaga's inside money, back inside gold. What can he do? Can he prevent the bleeding, or at least the flawless? Some damage onto NJR. Nice round. That might be it. He'll get it. No flawless round. But, I mean, we'll be nice.
A moral victory.
Yeah, it's definitely morally a flawless round for DarkZero as they eviscerated M80. Amazing stuff. It'll be a 5-1 half. Unless Yaga literally pulls off the craziest thing that I've ever witnessed and laid my eyes on a Rainbow Six, which it won't happen. So DarkZero will get practically a flawless half here on Bank. What else do you expect out of the Canadian?
5-1 is the scoreline here now. DarkZero, just 1/3 of the remaining rounds need to be claimed by them. And then this map and the series and the upper bracket position in the playoffs will be theirs. And of course, that's the biggest prize there at the end. Having that extra chance inside of the playoffs is worth its weight in gold, to be sure. DarkZero do not want to miss that. You can tell with the way that they are locking in with these serious plays on Bank to try and lock out M80 from the series overall. M80 on the attack, once again flashing the glass initially. Traditionally, we saw this get repicked every single time back on Chalet. Curious to see what will be the same for this map. So alongside of it, though, we still have a corresponding lineup to approach the site with, and yeah, especially for a basement attack, the glass would be a bit bold. Those sight lines are not exactly clear, even with the capability to see through smoke. So that will go away. The Yana will be picked up instead. And Kino will actually bring the Capitao in to support the utility.
It's going to be a roaming strategy here for DarkZero that'll involve open area. I know, shocker, right? They're going to pop open some of these hatches and commit some bodies around the area. We'll see just how many it will be. It'll be at least a mirror window here for Pambazoo. They're going to be practically dead center of Cafe. Don't really see this too often. It'll extend one out to the left turn front here, left turn side rather. Not going to apply a mirror window to that though. Doesn't even have another one in his pocket. I assume the other one's downstairs, probably on the single panel for garage, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. M80 now out and about. Looks like they're gonna try and assault the windows and go for a routine top-down clear. When it comes to big maps like this, especially the 3-level ones, definitely not the worst case scenario.
Already some territory opening up here for Yaga and the rest of M80. Not expecting DarkZero to play too aggressively against their current clear going into the second floor, and they're fairly correct about that assumption. We got a few players from DarkZero just leaning up through the staircases, trying to see if they can get lucky, but they're going to immediately dash away from that moment things get a little bit hot. We do have that one commitment a little deeper into open area. Should have a quick rotate waiting. I think it's Panba currently playing on the inside of there. Assume that there is a hatch open for him to try and escape back down to the depths when things get a little bit hot. So he actually has Giveni here to help him out too. I missed that detail as well. Both are directly next to that hatch though. They are just waiting for the drop to come in and then they will correspond to it, hopefully after picking up this first kill.
They can't play that position anymore. Yaga way too strong in the verticality there. Y'all saw how quick he got into position, able to break open those boards and give them some serious trouble. Spirit's gonna take some damage, tries to chase down Pambazoo, but they've delayed long enough. Already got a Logic Bomb out of Spirits. Probably won't use that one up until they actually go for this execute. Biggest problem now that faces M80 and might befuddle them for the remainder of this round is Canadian. The fact that he is on Pulse is such a big deal right now. Oh, he's got to throw it to the far side. He didn't get it. I do believe it's down the panel in there. I think so. Might have to get this one checked out on where that Electro Claw is, because in an interesting spot, those little EMPs, they're a lot different, the impacts are, than Thatcher's. Not nearly a radius on those. More than likely going to be on probably one of those metal panels there at the back. But either way, fantastic from DarkZero on that utility usage, and you can already see just the whole setup in here. This is not boding very well for M80.
M80 indeed. Potentially running into a wall on their execute. No easy access to the DZ setup, nor no safe path forward. They basically...
Oh my god, John. Oh, they didn't even open the other hatch because they used both the EMPs on that. Spirits was the only one.
They don't have any of this.
They went for the hard hatch first. Unlucky.
They try to work their way in here now. Attempting to put garage pressure onto it instead, and actually that appears to be unexpected by DZ, but they should have a pinch to correspond to this. Where is it, is the question. Finally, Gavani shows up for the assist. Yaga's there to correspond though. Panba thinking that Yaga would have dashed to the inside of the stairs. That molly is still blown up right now, so certainly not going to end up happening. This defense, which looked amazing a few seconds prior, now falls apart at the seams. It's NJR locked into a 1v4. M80 keep themselves alive here. Put the first round onto the board in convincing fashion on the first round of the second half.
M80's ability to keep the play active, not getting stumped by something and simply throwing themselves toward the site. They still go for a strategy, still go for a play. They build it up inside of Garage. And to be honest, they shouldn't have been able to get away with this. DarkZero having so much at their fingertips, so much at their disposal to try and suss this out. I mean, especially for Canadian, you got to read with the pulse, but the key thing about those pulse plays, John, when you're not seeing anything, you're still seeing something. Do you understand what I mean? In Rainbow Six Siege, if you're not seeing anything through a cardiac sensor or something along those lines, that means you know they're not there, right? So it was just a little awkward for DarkZero. They weren't still guessing, wondering where the potential play was coming from M80, and they got completely blindsided by Garage in the dying minute of the round. The real question that I pose is, where the hell else were they going to go? The hatches were sealed. They had to force themselves down main. They had to try and do something with server. The only other place that they could potentially go is something like Garage. DarkZero, completely unbeknownst to them, are taken out by it. M80, very well done.
Bit of a questionable follow-up from DarkZero too when they realize that it happens. There's a second player from Gold that immediately tries to press out from Red, just gives another kill over to that player as well. The reaction from Gavani and the second player supporting him over towards Elevator is really delayed in my opinion as well to try and pinch that one out. So it just shows the surprise that had been thrown towards them when we suddenly had that switch up and they tried to move themselves in for that garage push. Great adjustment from M80, of course, to put them back in the winning position for that round. Now, things are potentially about to get interesting here for Gomez and the rest of M80. So they indeed do have the Amar to try and swing their way in. We're going to see just how much they'll be able to use things.
What about that top op?
Oh yeah, the Cali.
Cali's in. She's ready to play. Yaga's going to toss out an EE1D, but I think Spirits has already found one. Oh my god, no. No. Are you kidding me? There's no way that he makes that work. Gomez, I don't even think that he knows the Canadian's still here either. He throws the stun and he's guessing. It's guesswork from M80. What is happening? This team, they're splitting at the seams. It's like Canadian. It's like they're allergic to him. I don't get it. It's, oh my gosh, it's like they can't compute what this guy's putting down. Ridiculous stuff here inside of Tellers.
Unfortunate that Kino is on the Cali now because working this gun inside of a 3v4 outnumbered scenario could become very awkward.
I can't believe that he got out of this place alive. Like, where is Troy? Where's Canadian at, please? I have to, what the hell? What is happening? What is going on?
So he is all the way downstairs now. Maybe
what?
going that route through main stairs. Good prediction from Diaz. I don't even know if he had intel for that. That might have just been a pre-fire from him. Gavani now sitting incredibly low. Downed, in fact, by Diaz on the follow-through. Great pickup from him. It's helped to equalize this back out, but now they've got to push it one step further. And again, they have the time to do so. All this chaos has occurred inside of the first 2 minutes of play. So we're basically on even footing. NJR, though, continues to show us these beautiful lineups. He had another one, of course, to end a round. Back on Chalet through the table to kill a player, pushing to the inside. Kino might have a slight angle here, but Young is going to get the job done for him. Getting the trade onto NJR, equalizing us again and bringing it down to just Canadian and Pan, but never mind. Just Canadian now. He's got to be the hero here. And when DarkZero needs a hero, they very well might find it. Canadian already the terror of archives, now going to be the terror from Blue as well, as Yog is alone here in the 1v1 with 30 seconds to go.
Well, Yog, what do you do? Do they have a flank cam up? Not a single player. Well, actually, Gomez and Kino both flicking on a cam right now. No impact here for Canadians, so we can't translate as a long rotation. It's all about where Yogg looks. The Beeper is going to give up his position, though. Stun out here? Does Yogg not know what's going on? Shots out, big plays here. Low HP, Canadian can't seal it. Yogg with the flick. He'll keep him alive, keep DarkZero off match points. Captain Canada shows up, but the Yogg dogs got it.
An extra damage from the Carbine, really saving him right there inside of the 1v1 as well. Only needed to sink that one finalizing shot compared to Troy, of course, who's spamming like crazy, trying to get multiple shots in succession to land on his opponent there. A little bit of a different play style, of course, and that works out better for M80 to just barely close things down, keeping it consistent so far in the second half. Do have the tactical timeout coming in from DZ, so let's listen in, though.
We're fucking in. We are shitting on them. It's literally just comms. Don't let the moment get like too much for us. Just play the feed, make a decision, react, just communicate. Read, communicate. These late rounds are ours.
If we can't stay alive, then that happens. Like we ended up telling me at the end there, but if we can't stay alive, then fine, that's fine. I can make a play. Like, I can't be saying just try to stay alive and play the blue.
I see what happened there. We'll talk about it. Hold on.
Okay, let's go basement.
Okay. So the little interaction that we had with the smoke player, I think it was NJR sitting on the panel, the site players just didn't tell Troy that they couldn't stay alive. Straight up. That's what he was talking about there, where he was like, I don't care if you can't stay alive. Just tell me, I'll make the play. Because if you saw, he was sitting on blue stairs waiting for his moment, but then everybody gets waxed, and he's like, guys, you could have just told me that you were going to die. I would have made the play. I could have distracted them. I could have kept you alive. There were so many options there still for us. And honestly, I'm in full agreement with Troy on this. If they make that play, John, they probably win that round.
That also could have explained what happened with the garage push, too, if that didn't get communicated properly and we weren't seeing that, and that's what they're trying to accentuate inside of this pause, that like very crucial things like that are just getting missed or are being left up to interpretation in the moment there, which is not what you need to be doing at this level here. So DarkZero, hopefully just a quick correction for them. Hopefully this is just nerves getting them and them focusing a bit too harshly on their gameplay itself. As like we said, just the 2 more rounds are all that is needed, but they've been unable to claim it so far. M80, 2 for 2 on their attacks here for the second half. Looking to make it 3, as DarkZero have another basement setup.
Well, I mean, if in all honesty, it's really not even M80 versus DarkZero here. It's Yaga versus the world. 11-5 at the current moment. Trying to give him so much trouble, and I think that we found it. Oh, yeah. You sneaky bastards. No, hold on, I'll tell you in a second. Yeah. What Canadian's doing is he's setting this thing up on a precise line to where it just touches the reinforcement panel there, but impact EMPs can't reach through the floor. That's just so foul. I cannot. At least that's what it looked like from what we were seeing previously. Now he's gonna have the electro closet set up here, but that's the way it's making sense to me with what we saw the last time around with the dual impacts that were across the board there as well. It looked like they covered all their avenues where the electro claw could be.
But it doesn't go deep enough.
Exactly. If it's sitting too low, then that's a whole different story.
Quick top-down clear is the goal for M80, although it's going to be held up a bit.
Oh, no.
They drop in. Mid-flash, and he drops as well, man. A quick dash. Kino, in the meanwhile, tearing it up for the attack here as he's claimed 2 regardless over by Blue. NJR and Panba both bow down to him as he claims 2 out of 3 of his kills in this map on that round. Very quickly makes DarkZero respect their positioning. As a result of that one, DZ now forced to lock in to the site here and hope they can play this out in the late round.
Well, Skies is ready for the garage push this time around, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news, buddy. I don't think that's happening this one. They got the hatch control. Might be able to play it back in from that position. Might have a late straggler that rotates out there from M80. They do like to try and fill up all the facets of a site, but definitely isn't going to be the full frontal assault like we saw prior. Canadian can't get this done with the electro shuffle, so he's going to have to back off into the site. An entire minute for M80, and this is looking like they're around.
Only a minute, but the +2 advantage as well will give them an extra bit of aggression that they could haphazardly kind of throw themselves at the site with. I think we have the Thatcher this time as well for these hatch clears. I'm not taking any risks on that this time around, making sure that they have access to those avenues. They don't have to go for a last-second change-up. Skies, though, with an initial response, catches the garage play this time. Looking to get the second player as well here. The damage not being found as confidently on that second player. Forced to fall back a little bit. Frustrated knife as well. Now he's got to try to rotate even deeper into this one. Gomez successfully picks up one for the elevator, but Skies is here. Rotations all over the place. A dash through the flames. A big risk there when you consider how low he is now, but he just barely survives it. Keeps himself alive and now has top-down coverage to Spirits' push coming in with only 10 seconds left to play as well. And more importantly, Case is down over by the elevator. They've got a route over towards this. Skies already has the winning angle to shut this one down. Beautiful play just from him alone, but the rest of DZ also excelling here. I don't even think that Case is slapping the ground in time. Oh, they just barely got it. Skies, I think he made the right call, but now rolling in on it, has down the first one, and Canadians Nitro will finish him off.
Fantastic patience. And really the play being Alex Skies right there. So you can hear from the whole bench. Yep. A little discombobulated there as M80. As I was touching on in that earlier round as well, they love to try and fill up all of the facets of a site. If there's an entry point, there might be a body there from M80. So it wasn't exactly ill-advised for Skies to be being there, or be influencing Garage rather, early on into that round. Just fantastic reads from them across the board to know that M80 will more than likely keep things active. We're gonna pick them up that big 6th round, move them on to map and match point. Be a 2-1 victory here for DarkZero if they can get things done. They're gonna bring this to open area. M80 so far on the offensive side has definitely had a much better chance of winning rounds, but now they have to try and put 3 together.
We'll see if 3 is possible for M80 here. Keep in mind, of course, much more to play into this series with for DarkZero than M80, as M80 has pretty much locked in a high placement position in this group already. Would have loved to have guaranteed first. We'll have to wait and see if this 1-2 loss still keeps them in that position, or if another team has been able to eclipse them as a result of not being able max points out of this matchup here. A loss certainly gonna hurt, but it's also not gonna be the end of the world for them. But a win for DarkZero spares them the lower bracket start in the playoffs in 2 days' time. Let's see if they can complete the set now in order to lock in that storyline.
Very long story ahead of us, if that is what will come to fruition. But there is still a chance, isn't there? M80 has to try and get themselves back into this game, and it all starts with this round, round number 10. Could be the key round here. It could be the beginning of their story. The hook in the first chapter. Really need the hook, though. Get that opening blood in Spirits' tail if he can find it. Oh, might come quickly. Pambazoo, a lot of damage off onto him. Not able to deal anything back, but Skies! Oh my! He flies from the sky so high, Yaga be able to send him crashing down to the ground, but not before he claims Spirits. Spirits' entire tournament not been able to find a positive KD. He's been able to mull over it every once in a while on a map, but overall, still negative here. It's showing inside of this game.
Time continuing to tick down here. M80, the pressure broiling out against them, as now Canadian works his way just to the edge of lobby tellers here also. Yeah, there he is going to end up being, even though we do have the vigil pickup from him, he's still going to end up getting spotted out by the drone. A little too obvious when the drone is that close to him. M80 though, with some big kills showing up here. They're saving themselves in a big fashion right now by finding these pickups and by eliminating Canadian off the back of that drone pickup as well. Nice turnaround from these guys. Make sure they stay in the fight, but as Stokes mentioned, this is the first of only 3 that they are working towards, so a long, long road still sits in front of them with minimal rewards, to be honest, at the end of it.
Well, John, if this goes the way of M80, might take control of Star Wars for my favorite trilogy. We'll have to see. Again, 3 rounds needed.
And there it is.
So far, looking clean. The first movie, not even a thriller. I'd say a romance. Fantastic there from M80. Nothing really going on for DarkZero. We'll see if we can make more of a thriller out of the second round.
Another opportunity here for M80 to keep rolling it back. I said before.
The cameraman just shook his head. He's like, no. Things move back and forth in a pretty funny manner. I'm a jokester sometimes, John. Apologies.
All good, as Tellers is now queued up for DarkZero to roll into this round with. It's going to be a different take from them on this site, and we'll see how it works as they test their mettle on new territory yet again in hopes of throwing off the M80 clear and giving themselves that ultimate round that will shut this one down. 7-4. Very well taking us to the close ending point of another map here. Already got to it on map number 1. Did not need it for Chalet. DarkZero dominated there. Now looking like we may need to bring it out again for our third and final map, and potentially overtime along with it if the success from M80 is replicated. Capcan in play for DZ, so M80 is going to have to double check their doorways on entry. Away from that though, no huge surprises, nothing that M80 is going to have to be extra cautious of as they execute in towards it. When they get to the site, they'll be a little cautious of NJR, of course, because those smart glasses, flashes, and smokes are not necessarily going to mean the absolute obscurity that they normally do, but hey, good news is they don't have either of those, so the smart glasses not really going to come in all that handy anyway.
Yes, indeed. And actually, funny enough, just looking at some of the stats here, the round differentials and things along those lines between these two squads before we started. M80 had a positive 20 for the round differential. You're tied up in points with Heroic, but obviously have claimed first since then, given the map they were able to muster away from DarkZero. But for DarkZero, when they started this, John, they had a -2 round count. It seems like it took their own North American brethren to light a fire under them. And now they're willing to have their opponents face utter decimation. M80 and get this drone game going on the top floor. There will be some presence here from DarkZero that they'll need to suss out. They have somebody built up inside the hallway. Kino's drone will be downstairs, so that's not going to find Pambazoo until he climbs the stairwell. No ascension, it seems, from M80. We'll stick around these windowsills for some time. Pambazoo might have himself a kill here, an aggressive front from Kino, and Kino better count his lucky stars because that was pixels away from a headshot. Kino takes down one and wow, waits out Canadian. A beautiful read, a beautiful delivery. M80 pulling ahead. NJR finally with something to say for DZ.
NJR shutting it down again here for DarkZero. Bring them back into the fight after Kino had his own little all-star moment here just on the outside of Square. 2 individual are these pushes, but apparently that's not as much of a problem for NJR. He finally bites off a bit more than he can chew, though, with that stairway dash. Gomez ready for the exchange at the top of Skylight. Brings him back down to earth. Only a +1 advantage. They have reduced it down to both Skies and Giveni now. Giveni, by the way, has woken up to a huge degree compared to the previous map here. Seeing a lot more effective play come out from him ever since what we got out of M80 back in map 2. Unfortunately, kind of shut him down compared to the first map, where he was also a pretty active part of the play for DZ.
Still definitely a solid presence from him. A great pickup so far for DZ that's worked wonders. Pick up a CL player, bring him to SI, why not? Might blow everybody out of the water. DarkZero trying to bring this back after Skies equalizes here. 2 versus 2. Gomez going to be low on HP. They need to find a home for this plant, though. 30 seconds remain. Have the ability to overwatch this, and this is going to be the call for them. Gavini still on high HP. They're seeing if somebody wants to try and peek through the hole down low, but they're going to allow this plant to go down and just try and wrap around this. Skies with the deep flank, but it should be covered. Gomez, I think he was looking at E2 instead. An amazing choice here from Skies. Gets him back into the round, and this is it right here. Gonna drop down, gonna try and play off of each other, a dash through. Sky's gonna step up. He has to be the first one to die here. This is the play for him. Big kills! But that AK-12, John, it's always been so dastardly, and it eats through both DarkZero members.
They stack it up too heavily, and as a result, give over the clutch capability with a single peek, unable to detach themselves from each other and figure out a way to pinch out the last member of the enemy squad. Their M80 gets away with yet another pickup here. DarkZero going back to their basement hold for the final round of regulation. Gonna need to close it down here in the same exact way we saw Theme Park break down here in order for them to win it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our first offensive-sided bank of this entire tournament. Look, it's true. Yeah, it's taken us to the NANA Derby in order to get Bank to play how Bank was routinely playing for an entire year until we got to SI 2023. Looks like all of these teams doing a lot of work when it comes to their defensive ends, but finally the offense starting to poke through. Shimmers of light for both of these squads. M80 looking to not burn out, though, when it comes to this round. They've had so much fuel in the tank, it seems, for these last 2 rounds. But now, this is where the rubber hits the road. Do they have what it takes to win out this and push us to overtime? It's the last set of the trilogy here until we go into OT, and that will be it. 3 more rounds dictates past that who will take the map. And the last map of our entire group stage here at SI.
Currently a 1-1 record on this site for the half in terms of who has actually won the rounds here. DarkZero able to successfully pinch out the adjustments from M80 towards the tail end of the last attempt, but M80, of course, surprising DarkZero with their sudden garage shift back in the first round of this half, threw them off. A lot for M80 to kind of steal the first attempt out of DZ's hands. Could have already ended this game had that not transpired, so it's appropriate that we're now going back to that site to decide everything at the end of regulation.
Already a lot done here for M80. The Twitch drone getting a lot of the Goyo canisters out of the physical site, and also a read on the positioning of Pambazoo here, but probably already known to M80. This is something similar to what we saw last time from DarkZero, and M80 ended up sending Yaga upstairs to break open the flooring, weirdly enough. I mean, something similar to this. So Skeleton Key will begin for Yag, 14-7-1, a 2.0 KD for him up against DarkZero, but that doesn't really matter if they lose the game, does it? The rest of the squad needs to step up for him, try and get some assists in here, and they have throughout the last couple of rounds right now. Gomez especially with quite a few. Kino with a moment of his own. They're looking for one of those moments yet again.
Kino spamming through, trying to see if he can get lucky here, as of course the intended goal here is just to pop open the wall. Panba, though, put into a little bit of a difficult spot because of that, but he excels from it anyway. Yaga moves back into the break window. Panba's angle now somewhat safe, but you can see, though, still a lot of soft paneling, so he is going to be forced to move out from a nade. Gomez takes advantage upon that, slays out against Panba here, and finally clears out the break room now. Members of M80 to take full control for themselves. It's all about that basement transition. A little bit of team damage ending up being done to Gomez, but a huge amount here. Just loses about 10 HP from the explosion on that castle barricade.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Well, this is going to be the big issue. Very minimal time remains. The good news for DarkZero, they have Canadian on the pulse. Saw this one the last time. Brought Thatcher this time around as well, so the depth of those EMPs will work out. Get the hatches open. Kino's going to go down, though. NJR's discovered him. Oh, Gomez! He went swinging! And it's ill-advised. He's chopped off the legs. M80. All of this worked, John. They've gotten so far down the road, they can almost turn in the quest. But they're about to die with all the key items.
Forgot to unflag for PvP.
Unfortunate. Went to the Wildy. Had way too much money in pocket. Now M80. They've risked it all. The dragon armor. The rune. Everything. The abyssal whip. Diaz, does he have it? Can he bring it under their control? He cannot. DarkZero sends him back to the start screen. 7-5 here on Bank. DarkZero let that one sing.
And with that victory as well, DarkZero will save themselves a trip to the lower bracket moving into the playoffs in 2 days' time. Instead, it's going to be FaZe Clan that have to start things out in the lower bracket when we resume play on Monday. But DZ will at least be able to start things out in the upper bracket. And for M80, not really fighting for much at that point anyway. As I said, they already won a map, already got an extra point. That puts them over Heroic, meaning they have first place in the group, irregardless of the outcome of it.
They could have literally set Bank on fire. And
yeah.
Straight up, it did not matter.
Called GG on round one, and we would have been in the same exact position. So doesn't really change anything for them. Good game at the end of the day played out by them, though. A near comeback. Always respectable to see that come through for M80. Playing it to their best, of course, here as they try to keep themselves in good straits to play out the rest of the playoff stages. They're obviously not even going to have to worry about that first round of playoffs. They'll be getting a bye because of their first place placement.
They basically get a weekend. All of us have tomorrow off. They'll have Monday off as well, so get some sleep, have some, easy scrims. Things are going to be nice for them for the next couple of days. As for DarkZero, though, a lot of work to be done for this group stage.
Certainly the case, but that is going to do it for myself and Stokes, ladies and gentlemen, here. We're going to be throwing it back in just a few moments, of course. But once again, great stuff coming out from DZ as they are able to control a very nice series over the course of that one, with some just really great individual moments coming out from that one too. Skies' defense over by the basement stairs on one of their basement rounds as well. Really hot stuff. Looking to see more of that out of DZ, of course, as we get deeper into the tournament for them.
Yeah, I think everybody had a highlight moment there, and it was honestly awesome. I had to fix my hair there. Did you see that? It was terrible. Why didn't you tell me that?
I honestly didn't see it.
You know what? It doesn't matter, because you know what? We're going to throw this away so people don't have to see my ugly face anyways. I love all of you guys. Thank you for coming to our group stage and experiencing what we have to offer. The playoffs are in a couple of days. We're going to toss you to a quick break, and we'll be right back with an analyst desk to break this down for you.
I'm Nicholas Morton, but you know me as Pingu. I'm a two-time Rainbow Six Siege World Champion and former top Rainbow Six Siege player in Pro League. Welcome to my Siege Ranked Bootcamp. We're talking 20 seconds left on the clock, you got the diffuser in hand, what do you do? Play the way that you're comfortable with, because you have confidence when you're in this position, that is when you're gonna be at your very best. Good luck.
M80 comes out on top, getting the bye. DarkZero makes it into the upper bracket, and Jacob will not have to eat his laptop because DarkZero did not do it in 2-0.
That's true.
Lucky you.
Yeah.
I was going to make you do it.
To be fair, I was also completely okay with us just forgetting that I said that, if that happened.
Oh, we will never,
Clear.
ever let you forget that. But
I mean, it came what they were supposed to come here to do. So, yeah. We don't have to deal with any of that reality.
you're right. We're going to go to map 1 and get this thing rolling here. Honestly, Jesse, you know what stuck out to me the most? Gap's performance on map 1.
He turned it up.
We're throwing a little bit of shade of him the last few days, but he heard it. Ears were burning. Remember that expression over there, Jacob?
No.
Okay, moving on.
Well, Gavin absolutely did have a fantastic second half towards that map. Obviously had the 1v1 over Diaz to close out round number 12. Nobody's going to forget about that play, but he also popped off on a couple of rounds earlier. I believe it was round number 7. Had the 1v2 where it was low time for the attacks. It was a bit of an easier one, but still played it very well. And then, of course, had the round 9 kind of 2K entry. Started them off on a really strong foot. I thought he was a very important player in that round as well. So on the defense, looked like Gaveni was really having a good time. Nice to see him finding success on DarkZero because we know that he is the new player coming in. Obviously, there's going to be questions about that, but most of those questions, I think, on map 1 were answered. He played very, very well.
And Jacob, NJR, Canadian, they also had some big moments during that map.
I mean, I felt like there was more individual plays that you could point out, you could highlight if you looked at a list of all the rounds that happened in map number 1. It was a lot of collective effort from M80 that felt like it was them going through the motions that they typically go through pretty well, especially on a theme park defense. Maybe they were a little bit slower when they switched sides, but DarkZero had a couple of bigger plays. That NJR huge 1v3 clutch on round 6 where it almost looked like he clutched with a Gone 6 in a post plant. He didn't actually, but he just had it out at the time of the clutch. I mean, you can count it if you want. The time where Canadian had a really big 3K on Frost when they were roaming on round 11, there were moments that DarkZero had, and there aren't nearly as many highlight plays that you could pick out from M80. You would have to look at entire rounds to be able to do that, and DarkZero had some guys come up in some pretty big ways that really gave them that 7-5.
Yeah, I thought their attacks were pretty solid as well. I mean, Skies with the Monty plant to start things off. Skies Monty's round, he almost did it the second round as well. He kind of went crazy with it, but at the end, it did kind of get shut down. Nice to see Skies doing so well with that operator, especially against Spirits, who tried it himself for one round, I believe, on the attack. Didn't end up working on theme.
Okay, I want us to transition to map 2 now. Honestly, the best summary here is I think Vivas just screaming, "How dare you take us to Chalet!"
Yep. Well, look, this is all M80 had to do was win one map, and you might think it would have been their own map pick, but both Theme Park and Chalet are maps that M80 and DarkZero both happen to like a lot. So even if you got one that you thought was a little bit more on one side for one team in the first map, the second map was probably going to go the opposite direction. It had an equal chance to do both. And M80, all they had to do was win Chalet, and they picked it up. It felt like they demonstrated tons of Chalet rotation knowledge early. DarkZero were trying to force their way into sites, and that wasn't a viable option through the first couple of rounds when they tried. And I think because M80 had a really good strong start and understood the way that they had to set the pace, then they could win this map faster than anyone really expected. And again, all they had to do was win this to confirm first place, and everything past this point didn't really matter.
If you remember, DarkZero won Chalet back in stage 3. That was the 7-1 game that didn't really matter for much, so it probably didn't have a huge effect on DZ picking this map, but their other results were also strong. Unfortunate, though, that they couldn't win it out this time. There were some fun plays down on Chalet as well. We saw Yaga get the very first interrogation, final game of group stage. I'm glad we got it in there. Not the first calf, but the first interrogation, so it was nice to see that. And then, yeah, I think some of the defensive positioning from DarkZero, just a little bit rough towards the end there, kind of slipped away from them on those last few rounds. Meant that they did not get to upset M80 and take that first seed, but of course, they still had things to fight for map 3 on their front.
Okay, and let's break down map 3 Bank. DarkZero nearly lost there. Got me a little bit nervous, Jacob.
To an M80 team that looked like they weren't taking things nearly as seriously.
Yeah.
We had a Cali in this game, for context, and I think both times Cali's been picked so far at this SI, it's been used abysmally and hasn't been for anything other than we wanted to try it, see if it would work out, and it didn't in either case. But as far as M80 needed to do, it wasn't, like, I think Yaga was the only guy on his team who actually wanted to win Bang, because it felt like Diaz had a really off game, Gomez wasn't playing normally, like Kino I think was playing probably far more aggro than you need to, and Spirits was roaming on on Echo, which again, I still don't know how wise of a tactic that is. M80 did not have to win this map. DarkZero came in and they had to be the ones to win it, but they had to do it around M80 not playing Bank the normal way, and I think because M80 were doing some things that were maybe out of order or perhaps unexpected, it took them a while after their 5-1 half to really pick up the pace, and when they did, they finally closed it. It just took longer than you would have thought.
Okay, but sorry, M80 got lax in a sense, and then DarkZero also got lax. Like, it was just back and forth on that last one.
Yeah, I think DarkZero got a little bit, I don't know, caught off guard by maybe some of the swings and such going on from M80 on the defense. Eventually, they closed it out, right? NJR on round number 12, saving it for DarkZero, meaning that they continue to play in the upper bracket. They do not get knocked down to the lower bracket, so 2 lives going into playoffs from them. NJR top on the scoreboards, you see, with 13 kills for his team. He had that big play to end things off. He also did pretty decent on the attack, roam clearing and such around M80's roamers. So yeah, great map from DarkZero. They closed out, started a little slippy at the end, but it's a good map overall.
And MVP time. I want to make y'all guess, but then we just looked at that leaderboard, and I mean, yeah,
if we could give MVP to a loser, it should be Yaga.
Oh my.
Because not only did he step up from the way that he played in the very first day, he also had a mammoth 1.43 game here. He almost dropped 40 kills in this game.
Yeah,
in a loss, it also seemed like he was the one who wanted to win Bank the most because his effort was still there. He was still giving his all. But I also know we're probably going to give it to somebody who won.
You're right.
I think his name is Nick. I think.
NJR. I was going to say MVP is NJR. Get it?
Ooh, I do like that. NJR has a little special something that puts him above of Yaga. He's not a loser.
He also wins when it comes to Warpaint, I think.
Yeah, that as well.
I think I agree. He doesn't wipe that all over himself, but nice job.
Yeah, it was good NJR game here. One of the most underrated players inside of North America. Nomad Smoke, obviously disgusting on those smoke plays, and I think definitely held it down on Bank for the map 3, but also earlier in the game as well. You see his KD coming in there. Cost 68%. 3-0 at entry. Doesn't need to get involved in those very often, but when he does come out on top, so that's good to see.
I think just from an initial perusal of the overall stats for every player at this tournament, NJR currently holds the 2nd most kills of any player here.
There you go.
Surprise.
Want to know who's in first?
Who is it?
Save that for later. We're talking about the best player from the stage in a little bit. You were just...
jumping the gun.
I didn't say the name.
Okay.
I literally, you're blaming me for saying the name when you literally told me to not do it.
Okay, let's just save it because that's coming up later. Okay, you know what we ain't gonna save? We're gonna get right to though. Group standings. And you know what, Jacob, you're eager to chat. So let's talk about Group D, and it doesn't stand for DarkZero, does it?
Look, I like talking. They pay me to talk. Look, I said M80 was going...
Jacob likes to talk. Jesse, I
said M80 was going to win this group, and they have by a 20-point round differential. These guys are at the top of the group because there was a chance they could have gone undefeated if it wasn't for this DZ matchup, but they secured what they had to secure. Heroic in 2nd place at 10 was definitely the super unexpected move. DarkZero, with that victory, do put themselves in 3rd, making sure they don't have to worry about only having 1 life in the losers bracket. And FaZe, in spite of beating Team Secret, were only capable of doing it in 3 maps. So that one map that it looked like probably wasn't a huge deal, that Team Secret won in that series on Border, matters a lot for FaZe Clan's future chances through this tournament. They at least make playoffs. It's a good thing to see FaZe at least make the bracket stage, but the way that this group has shaken out definitely twists the future for a couple of teams.